some. Where's your toy? Bring it over. Bring it, bring it. Bring your toy. Where's your other toy? Bring it. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Mimi. Or my name is Amina, I go by Mimi. I literally just woke up, and first thing I do from coming back to the earth is checking my bank account. I don't know how I was clicking my buttons to where it went directly to bank account, but that was so annoying. It was so annoying. It was like something trying to control the it's like the very layer before the next, like before the future, right? I don't know how to explain it. It's like, imagine if you're scripting something and someone is scripting something by you. So as you're scripting something, scripting your next actions, right? You're about to run your next actions. Someone tries to input their code in so that you don't get to your next action, and your script stops running, and then their script starts running. It's kind of that. And oh, there you go. But what you call it? That's basically what it was. It was so annoying. It's so annoying to have to deal with this, but to other readers and people who know how to read, it's like, what you call it? They're saying like, I'm trying to withhold information from you. My cat's playing. So what you call it? So hold on a second. Okay. Bring your toy. Bring your toy. My St. Pellegrino is out of fizz now. I actually don't really like the tangerine and wild berry one as much as I thought I would. Maybe I just prefer the regular water. I was just testing out the different St. Pellegrinos, right? So I tried the caffeinated one, which was actually my favorite, dark vanilla bean with coffee. Ooh. I know I'm probably not gonna like the grapefruit one at all, but we're gonna try it out. I'm actually gonna grab some Red Bull. It's gonna be a tough one. Sorry. The apricot flavor. It's like acquired taste. Obviously, while I was in my travels and whatnot, my body was getting, a beating. Um, I had a cool ascension. It was nice. I haven't ascended like that. I don't think in a while life I would, but that was a good way. So data and intel, it seems like individuals that are trying to run scripts on the behalf of the divine aren't understanding that access and authority go hand in hand, right? So a lot of it is like, I don't know how to explain access and authority going hand in hand. If you don't know how it feels in divinity, and then you're probably getting that energy in, what you call it, on earth somehow, like access and authority. Oh, keys to your car. When you are switching, when you go to your car, if you have a car, what you call it, and you go to your car and you click the button, right? It's your key, but let's say like you have a Tesla, right? Your door is already open, but in order to open your door, you gotta your phone has to be near your, what you call it, car, right? So unfortunately, this is how we have to fucking symbolize it, because people are, these individuals are really that dumb. So it's like, so it's like, what would you call it? You would be your phone and the car would be like your vessel. You see what I'm talking about? So your phone would be next to your car, and then the car opens up, and then when you get into the car, you push the start button. That would be God. You see what I mean? So that's how it works, right? Um so three. Yeah, with necessary three, the Son, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit enters the Son, and then the Father initiates the activation of the Trinity unity effect. That's just how it is. So, access and intel. If you're getting some sort of intel, it's because you have access to that intel. And I don't like to use have, but we're going to make this easy, right? Because you have access to that intel, regardless of who you might be or how you're portrayed here on earth, right? You can now perceive your authority through the intel you're receiving and how you administer the vibrational thought patterns around the intel when it comes to yourself. You see what I'm saying? That has to do with responsibility, right? So access, the responsibility, then it's like will have to do with authority, right? So yeah, every time I'm getting a reading right now, and as soon as she starts telling me about all these different people, and I'm like, that's not intel, okay? If I'm like, what is my next action? What's my next move, right? So what can I do next, right? What is it that I'm supposed to do next? What is it that you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I could do, but like, what is it that God is asking for me to, what is the pathway that God has put me on, right? This was about the last reading too. What is the environment God has put me on? And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing, so Nigel with his cousin, and then like Tiffany, and then it's a whole bunch of mess that God hasn't put me in. And for some reason, right, it's like, I'm telling you, 12th house enemy shit, bro. Like, I already put boundaries on, I don't know how many boundaries. And then there's like, it's like, people are like, well, they're crossing your boundaries. Well, they're crossing your boundaries. No, that's not how boundaries work. You get obliterated when you get near them, when you don't have the access and authority. So clearly these people, like, the boundaries have to move closer to them now. So now there are more boundaries closer to them, so that they don't have much of an escape. Let's do the reading. So Chariot, movement forward, advancement. So there's advancement. Yeah, there it is. And then there's that energy. That's like the protection around advancement, the boundaries that I was just saying, right? Yeah. And then I feel like someone is attempting to represent the cosmos, right? Someone is attempting to represent the like altered state of reality, which is the man, the altered state of reality. That's the, hold on one second. When I tell you that they called the wrong number, I kid you not. This is insane. This is insane. The crazy part is someone that I knew. And so to talk about crazy altered state of reality, oh my goodness. Like I thought, um, um, oh my gosh, like I don't even know how to explain what just happened, but God is good always. Um, yeah, yeah, trippy. But someone is trying to represent the astral. There it is. Someone is trying to represent the astral energy. They're trying to come past my boundaries, my barriers, attempting to make seem as if that they are the astral. Yeah, when they're not. So someone is trying to take their past into the future. So that's probably what's trying to cause like the infection to continue. I don't know how they got here to, my gosh, it's like everything that happens on Earth, it like overlaps timelines. It's like an overlap of timelines. It's like an overlap of dimensions. That's what it is. And because there's such an overlap in dimensions, like people or individuals who don't know themselves, who aren't in the straight and narrow path, they don't realize, like to them, their head could be on their shoulder and their arm on their neck and the knee, you know what I mean, on their ear and their ear to their vagina. Like like that's how it is to them. Like they don't understand that multidimensionality, just because it overlaps doesn't mean that they don't have structure and order. That's what it is. So they don't have structure and order. And they're trying to make seem as if that it's some sort of duty within structure and order for them to create some sort of, I don't know what it is, bruh, but they don't have the authority to do that. Okay, it just pisses me off. It pisses me off, bro. Like there's so much going on. There's like, yeah, there's so much going on. And I just feel, okay, I'm just gonna express what I feel. I just feel this like deep hopelessness and disingenuousness, and like I feel this like overwhelming dissatisfaction and like contagion as well. It's like I feel like this like like desperation is so much like, and you know when something is so overwhelming, it like it turns the, it makes things seem bitter, right? So there's this advancement, and they're trying to turn the advancement bitter. Like they're trying to, like, how does something become bitter, right? Is if it's spoiled or it becomes overripe. Is that what it is? Overripe, or when it's picked out when it's not ripe at all. I think is when it's overripe as well. Actually, let's look it up. When it doesn't receive the right nutrients, that's what it is. When when see, I don't want the latest update. Okay, I want what's already finished. I can't do this. Okay, me wait. In fact, the fact that I'm waiting for the next 2, 3 episodes of this show has like blown my mind. Honestly, like let me come find out that the episode isn't even released. I'll be pissed. Sorry. There's a show I'm watching, and I didn't know it wasn't completed and that it was coming out this year. Granted, this year is a good year for it to come out, and at the time that I started watching it is a great time for me to watch it, right? Like the timing couldn't be more perfect. The problem is that I'm not the type to harp on perfection. I want progress. So obviously the best way for me to progress is if it's already completed, if I already watched it while it was already completed. But then duh, the tension is what's driving me nuts, okay? The tension that has me here like, what's gonna happen? I just want to know. The tension has me going crazy. Okay, okay. um, yeah, because I'm already intense as it is. So, let's see. What was I even? Okay, yeah. Let me see. Um, It's when it doesn't receive enough nutrients, right? So when it's being attacked all the time, no, oh my gosh. Yeah, immaturity or overripening. That's what I thought. Immaturity or overripening. Drought, excessive sun, poor soil nutrients, temperature extremes. Yeah. Environmental stress, processing and storage, immaturity, and overripening. Yeah, overripening. So basically, what I thought, they wanted to cause an instability in development. You see what I'm talking about now? In heaven, these things don't happen, right? Let me explain how, on like how it can be as above so below, right? How it can be here. If you see like that the environment, let's say you're growing some, I saw a lot of different kinds of fruits. Let's say plums, right? Let's say you're growing some plums or cherries, right? That's a good one. Cherries and plums, because actually we own a lot of cherries. So let's say let's say you are growing cherries, but you see that the season hasn't ended yet and that your cherries are about to be ripe. What can you do to slow down the process of cherries, right? So how can you slow down the process of cherry growth and development? So a good way, right? Economic slowdown. Now you understand why economic slowdown is so important, right? So temperature control, cooling, right? Exactly, that's what it is. So cooling it down, light reduction, water stress. So that's what I thought, honestly. Like that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure, like honestly. So yeah, cold storage. So you can literally slow it down until the weather is cold, right? You can literally cover the cherry tree, the cherry bush, until the weather cools down. So when the weather cools down, and then what'd you call it? And what'd you call it? I think that's pretty much all that I was thinking about. Yeah, yeah, covering it. And when the weather cools down, you open it, right? And then you don't just yet water it until the weather is completely stable and cool, right? Then you water it, and then when the sun is out, it like develops it. That's how you make more sweeter, what'd you call it, cherry, by the time the winter season comes around, which is when you can pluck it out during the end of autumn, right? You can by the end of fall, right? You can then pick out the cherry. That's when it's super sweet and not overripe and not immature. See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say in the situation. It's like there are things that you can do to make sure that it's not overripe. So like for example, now, why is it that for years now I'm still saying the same thing? No one has ever seen what I'm able to present. No one knows what it is that I can do. No one knows the production value of what it is that I can do. Why is it that so many years, even thousands of years, can go by and something that you can produce in the ethers, right? In heaven to bring down to earth, right, is still with the times, not out of date, not, you know what I mean? Why is that? Why is there such an eternal, you know what I mean, sustainability? Well, because it's nurtured that way. You see what I mean? So because it's nurtured that way, so that it's perfectly ripe and sweet for its presentation, right? And that it continues to be that way for all eternity. You know what I mean? And then you can present it to God, and then like you can I mean, cherry wine. Ooh, cherry wine. I like cherry wine. So that's what I mean. And so like um that's like mastery over economy, right? Mastery of the market. Um And then there's those assholes, right? So the environment is clearly one of economic development, growth, and justice, right? Whereas there's those assholes, those individuals who, they are truly assholes. They like they think through their assholes. And so let me try to explain to you guys. You guys might think that, oh, it's just slander, right? It's just slander. It's just slander. No, it's not. I'm telling you the truth. Okay. So all they think about is where they're gonna shit, where they're gonna shit. They can't. If you tell them, like, if you try to take them camping, right? You would see the shock. Like, you're gonna make me go out there in the woods to where I have to what? Like, you know what I mean? You'd be like, it's perfectly fine. It's like the woods and stuff. Like, the animals do it, and so like it takes care of the land. And yeah, I mean, there's also a bunch of things that you can do, right? It's like, if I'm not pooping in my golden toilet on some Rick and Morty shit, if I'm not pooping in my golden toilet in the middle of my heavenly blissful every area, then if there's no like, that's it. They think with their assholes. That, like, they really do. And so it's like all about their intestinal arena. So like, what is about what is the thing that, so like, women rarely are assholes. Why? Because we understand contracting and releasing from our vaginas, right? Fallopian tubes and releasing and all that stuff. But the only thing that a man can really understand about their contracting and, you know what I mean? All that, the natural source or the natural knowing of that concept would be through their intestinal organs, right? Because that's what contracts and whatever. Because if you really think about it, it's not the stomach, right? Because like, if you look up most, like, 40 to 50-year-old, like, or 60-year-old men who are, like, family, big papa energy, they usually have, like, their stomachs are all bulgy and big and whatever, but maybe not all of them, but like a lot of them are, right? And that's how they don't, like, they probably don't really know much about being an asshole, right? Right? Because they don't care about the contracting and releasing and all of that stuff. But then the people who are assholes usually have really, you know what I mean, stomachs. You know what I mean? Why? Because that's all they care about. So it's like, and then, like, if it were more muscle based, then they wouldn't be much of assholes, right? They probably would be more sweethearts, right? Because they care about the contracting of their heart muscles. You see what I'm talking about? It's a lot of subconscious action going on. But yeah, so a lot of those assholes, they don't think about their, like, and then, like, other people who are genuinely sweethearts, like genuinely people who, like, let's say family men and stuff like that, they care a lot about of feminine organs and, like, understanding the contracting and releasing of feminine organs. So they might even discuss these things and be feminists about it, right? And so that way you don't see them being assholes. You see them more being like, what's the word? Cunts, right? You see what I'm talking about? So it's you, and then that's where I can be like, oh, that person's a cunt, that person's an asshole. You know what I mean? Because that's how they are. Like, that's what they think through. Um, yeah, see, it's like, it's not, it's the fulfillment within the situation is understanding, like, it really isn't slander. Well, yeah, it's more so like, you don't have to be a sad like person to know who somebody else is. You don't have to be a cunt to understand who's a cunt. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an asshole to see who's an asshole. You don't have to be a thief to see who's a thief. You don't have to be a villain to see who's a villain. You don't have to be, like, evil to see who's evil. You know what I mean? And, like, you see, now you understand, like, if I call someone evil, I'm not calling them evil because I'm angry or something. No, because I'm very much happy, and that person might be evil. Like, you know what I mean? Most likely they are. Um, yeah. And so they want to control rarity. That's what's coming through. And so we already know that there's a market to protect rare and valuable. Um, but rare becomes common with the right market. So hold on. don't know what happens in heaven to where God literally, yeah, but that's why my body hurts a lot too as well, because like I'm just out here building muscle and shit. Making my heart stronger. Okay. The way I did this, like you know, it tastes good now. Here. We got done early. Yeah, these past 2 days that I was working, we got done early. So felt good. Felt good, man. Felt good. All my tasks were done without a hitch. Everything was clear. It was good. It was good. It was tip top. So pressure for differentiating among similar things. So the monopolistic market is kicking them out. Pressure for central coordination of resources and production. The state-controlled market is kicking them out. Like, why do we have to know all this? It's coming up. It just feels like, you know, when, I don't know how to explain this. You know, the energy that people feel. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. So where I could be excited, like let's say I'm about to go to math, when you know why you're studying something, it makes it even more so like enduring. Yeah, enduring. Like endurance doesn't have to be boring. And then there's so much boredom projected at endurance. So now we're finally clearing that shit out, because this is so annoying. Because ain't no way you have me studying my favorite subject and I'm like pissed because I don't understand why we have to study like the subject, but it was pissing me off, because it's like, what do you mean I don't understand, right? What do you mean I don't understand? It's my favorite subject. Of course I understand, like, you know what I mean? And then it's like but then they're like, no, we don't need this. There's no way we could need this. And it's like, bro, could you just fuck off? Like, could you just fuck off? Like, could you actually fuck off? Like that's, and then I'm just sitting there the whole time like, oh my gosh, please make it fuck off, please make it fuck off, please make it fuck off. And then the hour passes and then boom, I didn't learn anything. And it's like, see, I told you wouldn't need it. And it's like, bruh, I didn't learn shit because you kept on interrupting me. Like, and that's the reality. So yeah, shadow anchor persona in reverse. So this is what it was. Keeps a person bound to them through shared secrets. So it's like, so they're trying to act like it's some sort of shared secret or something. I don't know what the hell was going on in the past with Plato, Aristotle, and all those people, but like, it must have been so hard to be a mathematician during a time where people really thought that that was witchcraft. Like, it must have been so hard, because it had to be some sort of noble duty. You know what I mean? Because it's like everybody had to be like, you know what I mean? Like to like, it's like, hey, did you know that there's something gonna be called EMC squared? It's like, shut up. You can't say those things. What do you mean the gravitational center and centrifugal force allows for pressure to be, you know what I mean? Like, that's impossible. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like that, it had to have been so hard, but I'm sure it was so much fun. It must have been so much fun. I just want the fun to be passed down. You know what I mean? I just need that fun in my hands, right? I need the fun to be within me, right? Let the funk be with you, okay? let it be, okay? They don't want it passed down. These people don't want the funk, the fun to be passed down. They only want the nightmares, the horrors, the stress, the things that they overcame already, in as if that they're feeling resentful. No, they don't. You think Plato feels resentful? Like, what are you on? You know what I mean? Yeah, silent knife persona. Yeah, destroys quietly without warning or visible evidence. You see what I'm saying? And there they are, defrauder. Again, it's like there's so many of them. That's why we leave them in hell, bro. That's why we leave them in hell and we move on. Where is the door? Where is the door? Hold on, oversupplied market. Yeah. Where is the door? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that gate? What gate is that? What gate are they using? What gate are they using? I'm trying. What gate are they using, bro? This is not a game. This is not a game, bro. Mass collective persona in reverse. Monopolistic competition. No, bro. Like, what gate are they using? What the hell? It's like suggesting where, like, they wanted to suggest something to negotiate to the truth. Like, you must be out of your fucking mind. Like, this is what's getting to me. It's like, I don't play these games, man. Oh my goodness, bro. No matter how many of them come by, it is because they are using a gate. Okay? They're gathering around some sort of gate. Is that it? No. Is that it? No. Yeah, there it is. I knew it was gonna be this one. I just knew it. I knew it. Yep, there it is. So unmerciful cover, they make things so hard. Unmerciful is like what I was just doing right now, right? It's not me, obviously, but what they were attempting to put me through, as if that they could. So they tried to like limit mercy. That's what it is. They're trying to limit mercy. They're trying to make it seem like God is only so merciful and for so long and for conditions, terms and conditions. That's it. That's all you have to know, bro. You listen. The only thing you have to know is that God does not set limits, conditions, and terms to his gifts. It's your choice. Like if you want to fuck it up, you could. It's yours. That's what I'm trying to say here. But the truth is that it'll be up to him whether or not he chooses to now provide it to you again after you fuck it up. But let's say you don't fuck it up, and then God then chooses to now give you more. That's just more immeasurable gifts on top of the immeasurable gifts that he had already given you. It's not something that can't be measured. They want to make it seem as if that it can be, it's supposed to be, it has to be, there must be a limit. No, that's why they're so demonic, bruh. Because they don't understand. Not that they don't understand, it's because they refuse. They want to abuse the power of refutability. Now they can't refuse anything. They can't. They can't. But it's funnier than a little child putting a demon inside on in her dinner table. Like what I imagined I was doing as a child is probably like making a table, setting the table, like not having anyone, and then the demons come in to try and kill me, and then I like grab them and put them down on the table, and then like the angels are just kind of watching them and being like, you move from here and you're dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like you'd be obliterated. Like we're just telling you right now, right? And all the demons are on the table, and I put like a little bow and like, yeah. Okay. So I put like a little bow and I'm like, let's drink the tea. But if they drink the tea, they will burn to crisp. So they're mortified. They're like absolutely fucking scared shitless about what's going on, right? And it's funnier than that. It's funnier because it's like what they're really gonna have to like. It's complicated. Okay. Yeah, look at it. It's like King of Cups. Thank you, Archangel Gabriel. With the Five of Cups, there they are. It's like uniqueness when it comes to alchemizing. But that's what it is. They wanted to make something seem, I can't say basic. It's not basic. It's not basic. It's not common either. It's like unuseful. That's the, like, let me try and find it. But that's what they're trying to cause, is that, like, dissonance. So people don't understand. That's too, see what I'm saying? It's like, is it vapid? Wow. So they were trying to, like, corrupt the mundane, is what it is. Idol. That's idol. Because I thought it sounded like idol, but odious. Yeah, odious seems to be what it is, right? Odious and banal. Yeah, they were trying to corrupt mundanity with odious and banal interpretations. Odious, I like that one. That's the one. Odious and banal. Because even, yeah. Odious and banal. Yep, odious and banal. Because it's like, who the fuck would even know those words for real, for real? Like, be honest with me. Like, really, let's be honest here. Like, is this something that we studied in school? Like, you would have to be like a master of, like a master at, like what is it called again? Like, spelling bees and like that. That's why I love those people, because I'm like, oh, thank you. You know words other people don't. So, like, the spelling bees, someone who interprets the dictionary, someone who's a PhD in like literature, and what you call it, PhD in, you know what I mean, spend in, what is it called again, linguistics, cryptology. Exactly. You would have to be like, and obviously, how would you make money with that? Huh? How would you make money with that? Exactly. So you would have to obviously work at somewhere important and like hype, because you're not gonna put yourself in some low paying position after learning the word banal and odious. Duh. Like, anyways. So that's what I'm trying to say here. So I remember the word banal. That's actually something I knew. But it's like, that's what I'm trying to say, is like, they keep on projecting banal and odious things, all to make seem as if mundanity is some sort of enemy when they are the enemy. That's not, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So now it's going to God, right? Mundanity, finally, my sister, right, is going to God, because mundane also goes towards ordinary, and ordinary comes towards ordinance, and ordinance is with anointing. So how is that boring, right? That's not boring at all. I don't think there's anything boring. Yeah, there's nothing boring about God, and that's the thing. The nothing that is God's creation is still the devil, which God has told you about. Like, God created the devil too. Like, you know what I'm talking about? One way or the other. Yeah, and there it is, the three of swords that they were trying to talk about with the Nine of Pentacles, right? How would that make sense? How would that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. Those are two different suits. You see what I'm talking about? So someone was projecting that as some sort of boundary. You see what I'm talking about? Like, and that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to, like, make seem as if that like through their unmercy, right? Through the fact that they haven't been provided any kind of mercy by God, right? They wanted to make seem as if that there was some sort of interest that they had to transfer. So it's like this is like collective's lifestyle, right? This is like your lifestyle, my lifestyle, everybody's lifestyle. Is it all connected together? No. It's an individual lifestyle for each and one of us in the collective, right? Nine of Pentacles is what we work with and for, right? And so they wanted to make it seem as if that because they didn't have this, right? They didn't have that they didn't need to release the energy of heartbreak, right? The energy of being abused in their sensitivity and trust, right? It's kind of like a, what you call it, as if that because no one cared about their sensitivity and trust and no one wanted to be with them, even that's not real, that's not true, right? They caused that for themselves. They abused their own sensitivity and trust, and so now they're heartbroken about it and they can't share with anyone's sensitivity and trust, right? And they're trying to make it seem like, well, because the collective now has the independence, right? The lifestyle to not to the lifestyle that was begotten by overcoming hardships, heartaches, and so on and so forth, that they had to now transfer their heartache, because how are they going to heal their heartache and stuff like that? How are they going to turn in reverse? They don't know how, right? They don't know how to do that, even though everybody has done it except for them. So they don't know how. They don't want to figure it out. So they figure, right? They figure if they transfer and they cause other people, right, the same thing that has already been overcome from the past already, that they could let go of what it is instead of healing it and get the collective to do it for them. And then the collective would sit with that disparity. And if the collective is so strong and so powerful and their lifestyle is so then why wouldn't they just turn the heartbreak again or in reverse? Well, the reality of the situation is that that's what's so unmerciful about it, is that every time that they try to cause the heartbreak and we heal it, they try to steal it away, which is how it's getting fucking transferred. You see what I'm saying? So now it's being given to God so that they will never be able to heal the heartbreak, and it will sit with them for the rest of eternity, while we will never have to get rid of our, what you call it, healing. And so that also goes to God so that we can be healed for the rest of eternity. You see what I'm saying now? And they think that that's what's unmerciful when they don't understand what it is that they've been doing that's actually the unmercy, right? Zechariah 7:9-10, Romans 1:31, right? Surah 19:14-17, Bhagavad Gita 16:3-10, evil acts free of mind. So now you might be thinking, well, how is that not unmerciful on our hand? Well, the reality of the situation is that God has provided us the mercy to now surrender our healing to God, right? Or surrender the challenges we overcame through the heartbreak that we already had in the past. And that is us thanking God for the mercy he had already gave to us in the past, which is why I mentioned immeasurable. So at the same time, they're looking at themselves and thinking, how is it that everybody is so unmerciful towards them when they're actually staring at their own reflection? You see what I'm saying? Which is them causing unmercy to themselves because they never asked for mercy. In fact, they specifically attempted to abuse rejection, to act as if that they could reject something that God even hasn't given them yet. Because why would God give someone something that they're not going to love, appreciate, take care of, or, you know what I mean? Only if he had been giving people favor, which is something that God does not do. God does not take bribes. God does not, you know what I mean? God does not take bribes. So, and he doesn't make bets. So, yeah. So they're going to have to go into their Kavish's hellgate and never come back. Right? Seeks unfulfillment to weaponize pain. We're going to have to close it because this seems to be the most odious and banal hellgate. Like, it just seems like, what'd you call it? Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Exodus 20:17, Luke 12:15. But no, that's how they try to manifest it to open, is through banal and odious means. Yep. Luke 12:15, Surah 4:32, Bhagavad Gita 16:12-21, 10 evil acts, 3 of mind. That's what it is. They try to manifest it through odious and banal means. So odious and banal, yeah, I put up boundaries upon odious and banal, insipid, vapid, and trivial. Yep, and there it is. They were trying to manipulate the ethers into representing their astral projection of who they believe. Wow, they were doing so much, bro. It's like they were trying to discoordinate the already running script of the divine to falsify input, like I already said, to falsify their own input. Yep. Yeah. It was so crazy. That's why all the right cards are coming out, because this is something that has already happened. So, like, for example, achieving one's own goals through steadfastness, and then receiving glory in order to bring gratitude to God, right? That's already something that's natural. But as I'm reading it, I can feel them trying to manipulate the energy frequency through the astral realm. See, Tower. I can feel them trying to do this. They're trying to use odious and banal means, which means that they've been caught by the boundaries. And now they're getting obliterated, because we're not even waiting. They're getting obliterated and dematerialized. All the means of banality. Yeah, exactly, because that's what it was all the time. That's what that it's like. Right after you overcome something, they want to now project like as if that it was pointless for you to overcome it, right? Oh, how dare you, like, get, like, for me, I got beaten up, right? And I got all this stuff, right? And now they want to be like, well, what was the point of healing that? What was the point of trying to remove your scar? What was the point of, you know what I mean, trying to heal your face? What was the point of that? Because you're still gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, they go crazy because they're trying to make it seem like there was no point. But the reality of the situation is that the fact that they're projecting it is crazy. Like, it's not about me. It's about the fact that they're crazy. And like, that's it. They've gone insane and they're being dematerialized and obliterated. And and the foundation of the planet, the foundation of Earth is overcoming them. You see what I'm saying? Earth is quite literally standing on, like, is like crushing them. So yeah, so they're getting buried alive, it seems. Yeah, exactly. They're getting buried alive. Yeah, and there's the abhorrement. There's the abhorrement, right? There's the abhorrement, and then there's the mundane, right? Which isn't implying, yeah, dullness at all. Unremarkable energy is crazy, but what'd you call it? Actually, unremarkable could also mean that I can't be marked, or that they can't be marked, or we can't be marked collective, which is not a bad thing at all, because at least we can't have the mark of the beast, right? Because we're protected by God. So what's so scary about being unremarkable? That's okay. The one who's truly remarking anything at all is God. So, or marking anything at all is God. You see what I'm saying? So they can't try and confuse anything when it comes to that, right? Yeah, exactly. There's destiny and there's the gift of destiny, and finally the truth is coming out exactly how it is. There's devil. And so there's, now you understand, like, there's all of this, right? There's an overcoming of all of these issues and stuff like that. And then the devil wants to come by and be like, what the fuck? Like, why is it you, how are you doing it? Oh, I want to bring you Mexicans. You know what I mean? Like, all the time. And it's not fun. It's actually quite odious. That's what's so odious. And then they're trying to, like, generate from that energy. They're trying to, yeah, there we go. They're trying to generate from that energy. And it's not really energy at all, it's void. They're trying to generate from that void, which is banal. You see what I'm saying? And then they want to project And where are they trying to project from, huh? Where are they trying to project from? Where are they trying to project from? Hmm? Hmm? They can't find themselves from the unknown. Yeah, from the unknown. No wonder, yeah. They want to project from the unknown to make it to make seem unseen, which doesn't make any sense because what is seemed is seen. You see why it's unknown? Because the problem is that they're assuming disknowing, dissonance. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to project from a place of dissonance from the void. But they're dissipating. They're literally being obliterated in no time. I'm just trying to understand why it keeps happening. Because 12th house enemies, because like they become an, and it's like they become an enemy. They get obliterated, dematerialized, and they dissipate. Then a whole new individual becomes an enemy. Like, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it happening. It's so banal. That's what I'm trying to say. And so that's what it is that's causing, like, it's like if it's not one thing, is another. You know what I mean? Is that energy, which is odious. You see what I'm saying? And being in that frequency is not what God, it's not the environment God created for us. You know what I mean? It's not the environment God created for us. So I put a boundaries upon that energy, that environment, that whole sequence. It's not the pattern that God created for us, like literally. Yeah, see what I'm saying? There it is. The unalignment. So it's like, that's what the unalignment is. That's insane. Sorry, it's gonna make me cry now because it's like, remember I was just talking about trust and yeah, attempts to dilute importance of sensitivity and trust. That's insane. It's just insane. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, why would anyone put anyone through that, man? That's crazy. They're fucking insane. Like, I don't understand. You didn't have to go through that, collective. If you've been through this and you overcame that, you didn't have to go through that. That was never for you. God would never do that to you. Like, that's so scary. Like, you didn't have to go through that. Like, that's so scary. See? That's so scary. Like, who even came up with that? Who even did that? Like, who even came up with that? Who did that? So was some Princess of Pentacles energy in reverse, someone who wanted to pretend as if that they were some sort of, oh man, that's so oh. It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, oh man. I just watched this and I actually met someone like this recently as well. And it's when it's like when the person that forces you to marry them, because that's what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. It's when the person who forces you to marry them has someone else's child within your relationship with them, and then you're the one taking care of that child because, well, right, the child is now forcibly adopted into your family. That shit is crazy. That's insane. That's like so heartbreaking. It does not have to be like that. Collective, it does not have to be like that. You know, back in the past, whenever there was an illegitimate child within a family, inside a royal family, the person who committed that nonsense, right, called adultery and so on and so forth, they get imprisoned, right? They get imprisoned. They literally go to prison. They go to prison, and then the child still is a part of the family, but is a in a lesser role. So they have to overcome the problems instead of the family, right? The child has to be the one to overcome those same issues, because if they don't overcome those issues, then they will become the same as the parent who done that. And they will also be haughty and arrogant about it. They have to overcome those issues. This is insanity. Like, there's no way that anybody, because even if you thought that you overcame that, it would still come back around over and over and over and over and over again. The reason I know about it is because for the longest time, my father was worried about like me being illegitimate, but it's because he didn't really process his DNA. He didn't really like read his DNA. Like, he could have, you know, I mean, there's a lot of dangers of doing that. And so he never really did. But I had to confirm for him what my DNA was so that he would know who he really was by his lineage. But yeah, there is legitimacy in the matter at play. Like, it's insane. Like, you should never have to go through that, collective. That's crazy. Because even in the K drama I was watching, it was like, I don't really fuck with that K drama specifically, but I know the history behind it, where it's like, if they're an illegitimate, so let's say they're an illegitimate son, right? But they've married into the royal family, right? They've been forcibly adopted into the royal family. Don't you see how like crazy that is? So they could actually hold resentment against the royal family and attempt to take over the throne in order to, you know what I mean, to put the country to ruin. So instead of that, they become like the eunuch, the noble. They become something else other than the crown prince or crown princess. They become something else other than the queen or king or even consort. Like, they could become a consort, actually. That's another thing, right? So it's like someone who gives advice as well, because then they could be tested in that way, right? And in like, it's all about survival. Or they can also choose to live a completely different life. They're still free. They're still free, but do you see what the difference between freedom and exaltation? It's like they could still live a completely different life, but there is no limit to their freedom, right? So they could decide maybe that they do want to take over the throne, but if it's about the legitimacy, about the situation, sensitivity, and trust, are they going to commit the same crimes as their parents did? Are they going to do exactly what their parent did to give birth to them? Or are they going to overcome those obstacles and become the next in line for a new throne? Maybe there's going to be a new throne that comes in. You never know. God is good always. He is the Almighty. You see what I'm saying? Everyone has a place in this world. And it isn't the child's fault that their parent committed such an egregious crime, which is why the parent would be in jail and not them. In prison, sorry, and not them. But that doesn't mean that the crown royal or the official in the situation has to now deal with the consequences at all. That is not what we're doing. That is so demonic. That is so demonic. That is so sad. That's beyond me. Yeah. Emperor upright. Yeah. And an emperor sees it now. He sees the illegitimacy of the proposal now. It's not like he hadn't seen it before. It's like, it's not that we didn't know what it is, right? Like I said, it's not, don't ever take it the wrong way. That's your choice. Okay? I'm not saying that you had a choice whether or not you were going to see it right or not. No. I'm saying don't take it the wrong way. That is your choice. It's your power to consecrate and, yeah, to consecrate your decisions and how it moves within your reality. If you always had liked to be a positive individual, then you will always find a way to see the silver lining. Therein lies your choices. That's how it becomes your choice. That's why intentions are super important, because they lead they enlighten the pathway of the foundation that has been placed for you to actually move upon, rather than making rash or sharp or being pressured at the wrong time. This is pretty wild. Yeah. Anyway, there's consequences for that unmerciful demonic energy that was, yeah, that was trying to take over the undersupplied market. See, they're voided. They were a false teacher. Deuteronomy 18:20 through 22, Matthew 7:15, Surah 6:93, Manusmrti 4:195, 10 evil acts for speech, right? Turning faith away from people, straight up lying actively. There's consequences for them lying actively and attempting to incur unholiness. That was the sin that they were trying to incur. Unholiness, which has to do with being absolutely stupid and being in stupidity, right? They were trying to use the undersupplied market, the market that requires there to be readiness within the situation. You see, you have to be ready, but it's not because, oh, you had a choice to be ready. No, it's about the foundation that it takes for you to always be in readiness, for you to always be ready, so that you can then meet urgent needs. Because the challenge within the situation is meeting scarcity, quite literally meeting scarcity. It's about abordment. So if you don't know what that means, look it up, because I talked about it yesterday. So, or in the last reading. So abordment in the situation is about meeting, being in the power to meet the pressure, meet the challenge face to face, see yourself, reconcile. It's all in the power of unity. So the whole merit, what you get out of the situation, is reliability. Not only are you reliable, but everyone that you meet, everything that you do, everything around you is reliable, literally. So there's no such thing as making the wrong decision, because all of it has to do with the fact that you're already prepared to make the right decision. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that unmerciful energy of the false teacher trying to create confusion and dilute your trust and sensitivity is all going to pay. They're all going to pay. Okay, there are severe consequences, and in fact that they're already paying, and in ways that they don't even understand. There's so much interest that they were trying to dilute that the interest is doubling up. Now they got it. Like, if like, you know how interest works, right? You whatever you owe, depending on how long it takes for you to pay it, right? You have to pay more each time you're waiting, the longer you wait. So each delay that they were attempting to cause in your life, collective, or each delay that they were trying to cause in my life, in our lives, they have to pay additional for that. But more than that, they can't actually cause those delays. It's all an obstruction to themselves. They're actually delirious and lying to themselves about the delays. It's their reality. And they're trying to compete their reality with God's script, with the alignment, that pathway that you're already ready for, that you're prepared for, that God has aligned you with. especially now you understand it's the undersupplied market. You know you have to meet some sort of scarcity. So let's explain that a little bit. What is that meeting scarcity challenge, right? Right. So it has to do with what is this? So understanding your power within wilderness, right? Let's say this is a jungle. We like to say this is a concrete jungle in the city, right? In farmlands, it's like a plain jungle. Look, whatever, however it is, it's a jungle or a forest, right? This is the earth. It's the challenge that allows you ground yourself on the earth. That's it. That's all. Had you overcome the challenge of understanding the earth and understanding your power on the earth, and are you ready to meet your own urgent needs and allow yourself, rely on yourself, you know what I mean, so that you can then seek reliability in God, because that's the reality of the situation. See, do you see God as reliable? And if not, are you reliable? And how can you show God that you are reliable? Not that God would think that you're not. Or are you not? You see what I'm saying? That's why it's a challenge. Yeah. Hi, Empress energy here. I'm using my intuition always. So what'd you call it? Yeah, innocence is here if you don't know me, okay? I think, yeah, the Kavish's Hellgate is being closed. The whole strain of the situation, that whole energy, heartbreak, and their projections and all that stuff is being reversed. It's being sent back to sender. You're protected, obviously. Yeah, and there's this like, yeah, we're just moving on. There's steadfastness. Let's see if there's anything else from the divine. Anything else from God? Anything else, angels, ancestors, that we can present right now? So fulfillment and happiness in destiny. So happiness comes from destiny being fulfilled, right? This is purpose, meaning. That's where stability comes from. That can be reached through grounding, which is why it's so important. Understanding where you are, who you are, and how you can ground yourself allows you to be fulfilled. It just brings you ultimate joy. That only comes about once you are thankful and grateful. But once you've reached beyond that, like I said in the last reading, once you've understood your free will in a situation, right, then you can actually reach exaltation by God's grace. You see what I'm talking about now? But that has to be reconciled with self, right? You got to understand that there's no condition. It's beyond the 5D, right? The 5D is the frequency of love, and God is love. So you would ultimately still have to go through God to reach God, literally. Mm-hmm. Ultimately. Yeah. And the only way to go through God to reach God at the end of the day is understanding the truth of Christ. And that's where the Christ consciousness sits, obviously in a higher dimension than the 5D, but still projects towards the 5D, which would be the 10th dimension, right? That's the 10th dimension, right? 8, 3, yeah. That's the 10th dimension. And the 10th dimension is the understanding of self, or who is, right? Or who are. And that is Christ consciousness, or Christ energy. Christ is, right? And so in that frequency, Christ, the only word we know how to use in that sequence is projects, manifests, actually. Christ manifests onto the 5D. God literally manifests himself onto the 5D, which would allow for kingdom. Kingdom is more like a bridge, which would be in that 5D. Kingdom cometh. It's more of a bridge that leads you towards heaven than it is heaven. It's more paradisical than you think. So King of Pentacles energy there, right? Which would be the energy of Archangel Uriel, right? Archangel Uriel. Let's see, so that you understand Archangel Uriel energy, right? Archangel Uriel is the real protector of that realm, right? So you're not being trolled, right? So you understand, right? So God is my light, flame of God, right? You see what I'm saying? And so his name associates with illumination, divine wisdom, and theory presence. Um, what'd you call it? Book of Enoch. 4 main angels. We got Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, and then Archangel Uriel. There's 4 suits in the deck, right? The pentacles, the cups, the swords, and then the wands, right? So you can imagine, right? Archangel Raphael is often the ones that Archangel Raphael is often the ones that comes through, but the Lord God, Jesus himself chooses to come through by Archangel Raphael's energy, right? Often because it's King of Wands energy. So let's see Archangel Raphael as well before. So basically, he's often the angel of wisdom. So the pentacle, right, being wisdom, right? Warning. So he's like standing there, and judgment with the way that he, you see it, right? You see the card. That's the energy. So what'd you call it? Associated with the element of the earth, and then the energy of the pentacle is of the earth. You see what I'm saying? You get it now? I mean, well, it's not of the earth. It's associated with the earth, but really it's in divine. So Archangel Raphael, right? God heals, the healing of God, right? Healing, guidance, and protection. So you understand King of Wands energy in that energy. So who would do the shepherding, right? It's the Lord Jesus. That's why he comes through with the King of Wands energy encased in Archangel Raphael. So it's like it's like that, okay? So there's alignment within this, right? Because the card right now for alignment is being attacked severely. So you're going to see alignment here. Yeah, patron of travelers. Yeah, that makes sense. Angel of healing, patron of travelers. So Archangel Raphael is the one who, yeah, that's all that you have to know with Ether card coming out. So the world is usually associated with the world specifically, not this the world card, but worldliness is associated with astral. Astral energy cannot be trusted. It's cosmic energy, which isn't really like real. I can't explain it because there's only 12 main principles, or what you call disciples of the energy, not 13, which is very dangerous because a lot of people are lunatics, go insane because of the 13 moon cycle. But it's really about understanding the who is, the sun rather than the moon. So that's another thing. So the ancestors are the ones who help close it out. So what is the world? It has to do with etheric force, which is more about the wavelengths that come through, like blood through the vessels, like blood through the arteries, right? The tree of life has, you know what I mean, constant information going from the root to the fruit, and from the fruits to the root, and the one who reads it all is the Empress, High Priestess, Queen of Cups energy, which is all my energy. So yeah, it's really hard to accept that I'm the Empress, huh? But I am an earth angel, messenger of God. I do remember coming here. I have to say this all the time, every time someone comes into my channel new, right? I do remember coming to the earth, sent by God. I do remember being both in the cosmos, in hell, on earth, past life, all of the above. But even tonight, like as I woke up, I was coming back from heaven, literally. Because I am a pillar of heaven and earth. I am a red galactic Skywalker, right? So this is what I do, right? Yeah. So trust when I say I'm not money crazed. I guess that's another thing that people like to project on me, being money crazed, because I don't know where you see money here. I don't know where you see money here, okay? Oppressor. If you find it, let me know, yeah? Oh my gosh. Oppressor in reverse. So gossiper, infertile. So this is what the projection is possibly going upon you. You might be being projected on by a gossiper to cause you infertility. This is so that you would be bored. Okay, so you feel like you don't have to learn anything, as if that it's pointless, odious, or banal to learn anything. Okay, I promise it's not real. Okay, it's not real. You can find out how unreal it is from Exodus 20:16, Matthew 19:18, and from the Quran, Surah 25:72, Bhagavad Gita, right? That's another script from 17:15, and 10 evil acts, 4 of speech. Okay, so here I'll even look it up for you. Okay, Exodus 20:16. Okay, so thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. There you go. You shall not give false testimony against thy neighbor. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Like, it just says it over and over again, right? So then let's go to Matthew 19:18, right? Matthew 19:18. Oh my goodness. Right. So he saith unto him, which, you see, that's the question, which, that's of the, what did you call it? Isn't that the 9th dimension? That's the 9th, right? That's after who? That's after the 10th dimension, right? If it's going down to earth, right? So it goes, Jesus said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. The next one says, which ones? You see what I mean? So there you go. It's like literally that energy, the 12th house enemy, right? Energy was there. And I said, who did that? That was my question. I was like, who was that? Who are those? So now the question is being cleared up, because it wasn't about who, it was about which ones, right? And so Jesus replied, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not give false testimony. Now you see which ones, the gossipers. So you might think, oh, they're gossiping. A lot of people say, well, you can't control what people say. That's some crazy nonsense, because that's the gossip. They don't realize how deep in hell they're going. They don't realize this. That energy is of defrauding. That's like the 8th to 9th layer. That's this close to Satan. This close to Satan. They don't realize that at all. They think that they're, I don't know, if they're going to hell, right? They think in their thoughts that if they're going to hell, they're going to mean like in the 1st or 2nd layer. Nah, they're so deep in hell, they're literally getting obliterated. Literally. So, let's keep going with surah. So now, since a lot of people don't really know much about the Quran, right? A lot of people who, worship Jesus himself don't know much about the Quran. So let's look up, which is okay. Like, we're not gonna, his name is Prophet Isa in the Quran, so we know who he is. Like, obviously, like, this is just so, yeah. So Surah Al-Furqan 25:72 describes the qualities of the servants of the Most Merciful, right? Ibadu Rahman. So he says, wa aladina la yashadu azura wa ida maru bil ladwa maru kirama. Okay, which means, and they are who do not testify falsehood, and when they pass near ill speech, they pass with dignity. So basically, it's that you, collective, me, and all of us that are part of this consciousness, Christ consciousness elevating, are the ones with dignity that pass by. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's like we pass by with dignity. And now you understand why I mentioned the understanding of the environment that God creates for us versus what those individuals had created for themselves now that they have to suffer with, right? So now you understand that dignity is the thing, that the challenge of that economy of meeting scarcity. Now you know what it is that was going to help you meet your scarcity. It is that whatever that you were scarce about, it was always going to be around your own dignity. You see what I'm saying? So for you to be able to overcome the challenge, hold your dignity strong and help it ascend. Help your dignity ascend. Think of your dignity as an angel, and that you're literally assisting God in ascending that angel and helping it, right? Which it just creates a better environment, like literally. So those who witness no falsehood, and if they pass by futility, and there's the word that I was using, right? Um, what was it that I was using? A ball, like, what was it? Is that what it is? Yeah, banal and odious. Remember when I said it's banal and odious? That's the word for it. That's futility. Um, it says, those who witness no falsehood, and if they pass by futility, they pass by it with honorable. And then what does it say? Honorable avoidance. See what I mean by the false teacher being voided? If you watch the beginning of the reading, I also mentioned how they are being voided, and they're attempting to project from a place that is void, literally. So it's like, it's so complicated because I'm autistic. So when it comes to neuroconvergence, I mentioned that in a different reading about neuroconvergence. It's like I see past the unseen as well, because you can't, obviously we don't know what's going on in the unseen, but I see past it. So because there's no point of me even trying to see it itself, right? Because it's unseen. But because I see past it, I also witness, like, what is it called again? Yeah, I witness. And they are those who do not testify to falsehood. When they pass by with dignity. It's like, thou shalt not bear false witness. It's so complicated, y'all. It's like you got to really hold yourself together. Here, not only that, avoiding lies, but also choosing dignity over pettiness. Yeah. In interactions. It's complicated, bro. But yeah. So I think that what we can do right now, like I had to literally wipe something away because they're really trying their best to stop me right now. So let's do Bhagavad Gita 16:15. So Bhagavad Gita 16:15, Krishna describes authority, right, in speech. So here, speech which causes, oh my God, thank you, God. Like, honestly, I couldn't be more like excited about this. Here, speech which causes no excitement, which is truthful, pleasant, and beneficial, and the practice of study of the scriptures. This is said to be austerity of speech, right? So there it is. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also regularly reciting Vedic literature, right? So it literally is remember when I said about reconciliation within self, right? And then reconciliation within self, that's basically what it is right there. I don't know if you felt it. I don't know if you witnessed it. I don't know if you had experienced that right there. But that right there was reconciliation. That was the energy. Because then it's like truthful, beneficial. That's why I said if they're trying to make it boring, it seemed like gossiping. But that's the problem, is that they're infertile. The gossip in itself is what's causing the issue. So when people try and tell you like, oh, you can't control what people say, you must hold your dignity dear and strong at those times and moments, because it truly is an enemy. It really is an enemy. When I tell you it's an enemy, I'm like, this is not a drill. The test within the situation, the real test within the situation is your knowing of the right environment that God is promising you. So in order to really understand that for yourself, right? Your dignity and what it manifests, right? Your dignity and what it manifests, our dignity and what it manifests. Yeah, they can't be mischievous in your energy anymore. Collective, they can't pretend to not be mischievous either, right? So that you can move with dignity, right? Their false healer persona is dropping, right? Which is pretending to mend but introduces new harm, right? And then there it is. Poison chalice offers gifts that carry hidden costs or dangers. So they're being thrown out the undersupplied market, which is the pressure of meeting scarcity. So they might present themselves as if that they are someone who is attempting to align with meaning scarcity, right? They might present, you see, they might act as if that they own over some sort of authority to access the reconciliation that is within you. They might try to like make it seem like that you are as if that you are supposed to see them as an individual that is also reconciling with self. Be careful, right? Be careful, because because the energy is of you, them trying to persuade you, tempt you, and lead you and your dignity towards them, to make seem as if that they are as dignified, or to compete with their concept, or their false concept, because they're infertile, or their false concept of what dignity might be. You see what I mean? Now you're ascending. So the energy, yeah, there it is, sorcerer. There they are. And then the adultery in reverse, because like we said, thou shalt not commit adultery. God is protecting you right now. So basically, abusing authority despite God's word. You see, God's promise, God's word, and then the authority that they were attempting to pull from you to make it seem like they had access, right, is now being seen for what it is, what they were doing, sorcery. So why is it called sorcery? Why is that word sorcery there? Is because of their extreme limits, the conditions that they have forced themselves to be in, that they're trying to make seem as if other people have those same conditions, like collective, you can't be rich, like that. Like as if that you can't do something, or that you can't be something, or you can't go somewhere. But in reality, it's their limitation. They've created those limits for themselves. They're the ones that are imprisoned. Remember where we were talking about, I talked about how sad it is, right? How what the individuals, right, the 12th house enemy of the situation, right, the ones who were gossiping and stuff like that, what they've done in the meantime of their gossip, which is attempting to cause false legislations. That's what it is, legislation. So let's look up legislation, Eddie. So they're definitely, it's a, yeah, they're mad. They're mad. They're pissed right now. They're real mad. The rule or statute, the act of bringing forth or putting into effect, basically the act or process of making and enacting laws. They wanted to make seem with your authority, right? They wanted you to permit them to basically make and enact laws on your behalf. That's taking your rights for granted, your access and authority away from you, basically. And then they were doing it in the energy of sorcery, which is they already had laws and enacted, and that they had already been in the enacting of laws. So some people, individuals, right, people, even God maybe, had already enacted laws upon them and made laws around them to make sure that they were, you know what I mean, that they were confined and or imprisoned. They refused to they were attempting to take the refusal or refute it. They wanted to fight against it, and then attempting to come towards you, devil-like energy, through the astral realm, which is why you're not supposed to love it at all. You're not supposed to love the world through worldliness, right? Through that, to make seem as if that you had to surrender to them instead of God. You see what I'm saying? That's the sorcery of the situation. So using dirty, false, begotten information. So this is why this reading is called Intel and Data. You see what I mean? So are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Because I hope you're ready for this. You see why readiness is so important now? So to meet your scarcity, understand Exodus 22:18, which is also the same energy as Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12, 2 Kings 21:6, Isaiah 47:9, 12 through 13, which is the same as the 2 Kings 21:6. So you can either read Exodus 22:18 or Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12. It'll be the same thing, right? 2 Kings 21:6 or Isaiah 47:9 and then 12 through 13, right? Micah 5:12, Galatians 5:20, or Revelations 21:8, 22:15. There's even the same thing for the Surah, Quran, Surah 2:102, 7:116, 2069. And then Artava Veda 8810. And then 10 evil acts, 4 of speech, and 3 of mind. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it really is. Like, that's how evil-minded it really is. And you see how there's so many enemies, there's so much they were trying to stop you with, like all those things they were trying to use as weapons, all because like what? Like you like just to manipulate your environment, to attempt to justify why they wanted to manipulate your environment, to act as if that they understood love, as if that it was some sort of like game. You see what I'm saying? All of it was because of their own struggles, their own prison that they created for themselves. Can you imagine? So now that they've locked themselves up and are hurting themselves, you're supposed to pay the price. What? That makes no sense. And that's the thing, because it is nonsense. And with that nonsense, they're trying to create gossip. So to stop you then from what? Moving with dignity? That's crazy. You see why it's so crazy? Why I had to cry? Because it's insane. And they feel that way. Why? Because they've put themselves in that prison. They clearly didn't love themselves. And it's not like even loving yourself would do much of a difference. It's about loving God. So, yeah. So false healer persona, that's what they were trying to show up as, right? Pretends to mend but introduces new harm. They were trying to make it seem like, so for example, when a child is trying to help you cook in your kitchen, right? You're cooking and your child is trying to help you cook. They're obviously not going to be great at it because they're a child, right? So they're going to cause issues and they're trying to fix it, but it's causing more issues. You're laughing about it because it's just the joy of the situation. But they're not a child. And they're not even your child. and they're trying to make it seem like they're trying to help you cook in your kitchen, right? Meanwhile, they're deliberately causing issues, right? What the hell, right? That's crazy. You see what I'm saying? Just to stop you from doing what? Eating? From praying is what it is. From saying, Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name, may thy kingdom come. Forgive us our sins, for we forgive others from sinning against us. Thank you for leading us not onto temptation, but away from temptation. Thank you for feeding us today our daily bread, forever and ever in Jesus' name, amen. That's what they want you to. That's what they want you to stop. Can you imagine? That's why it's demonic. So yeah, then they can't pretend to offer safety after you done already prayed, cooked your food, eaten it. You know what I mean? They can't pretend to offer you safety because you've already called upon the Lord. You've already admitted that the Lord is your savior. That is he's your abode, he's your everything. They can't pretend to be the Lord because the Lord will whoop their ass. You see what I'm saying? All this in the energy of gossiper. It came out. Gossiper. Yeah, oppressor, insatiable. And they're, believe me when I tell you that they're insatiable, right? Lies about being alpha. You see what I'm saying? Projects own weaknesses at Omega. They act as if that they understand what the Omega went through, as if that they are the maker of those weaknesses. They act, they pretend like they don't know anything. They don't. They act as if that they know what your weaknesses are, because as if that they have those same weaknesses, when in reality they wouldn't even understand the importance of weakness. They wouldn't even understand why it is that we thank God for allowing us to go onto our knees and revere him, right? Why it is that weaknesses even exist and humility is. They wouldn't know anything about Omega, but they surely can't pretend to be alpha, especially if it's that way. They're insatiably trying to do so. So Exodus 22:21 through 24, James 2:6, Surah 4:75, Bhagavad Gita 16:9, 10 evil acts, 3 of mind and body. Remember the other one that was 3 of mind and body? Or was it 4 of speech and then, no, it was 4 of speech and then 3 of mind, right? So this is where it was coming from, 3 of mind and body. That's the real energy of where it was coming from. So let's look this up for you guys. I guess we're gonna look it up because so Basically, thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. You see what I'm saying? That's what I was literally talking about when it's just so sad. Like, I'm really fighting my tears right now. Like, I'm really like, you don't understand. I'm all heated. Like, my body is sweating. Like, I'm like stressed out. Like, you don't even understand what I'm going through right now, bro. Like, it's 1:21 p.m. Like, like there's a lot going on in the world. You know what I mean? If thou afflict them in any wise and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I told you the Lord will whoop their ass. I'm telling you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you how it is, right? And my wrath shall wax hot. He's even saying, I will kill you, see, with the sword, and your wives will be widows, and your children fatherless. You see what I'm saying? So not only is he saying, like, let me tell you right now, and this is through the ancestors. This is what they're trying to tell you right now, right? Do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, right? If you were a foreigner, for you were foreigners in Egypt. Do not take advantage of the widow or the fatherless. If you do and they cry out to me, I will certainly hear their cry. My anger will be aroused and I will kill you with the sword. Your wives will become widows and your children fatherless. It just goes full circle. It goes full circle. It just goes to show that a person's past may be their past because of what they've already presently prepared to do. You see what I mean? Their past may be their past because of what they're presently what their present is in readiness of, and their future might come about due to their present and not because of their past. You see what I'm saying? It goes full circle, which is why you always understand groundedness. Now you understand why the earth is so important. Grounding is so important because the present is that important, right? I'm just telling you the truth. Yeah. Oh, I am the truth. Yeah. My name is Anina, someone you can trust. Yeah. That's what that means. So, yes, there they are, slanderer, which is what I started this reading off with, where I said that those people are genuinely assholes. They're assholes. Some of them are cunts. That's where they think from. They don't think from their brain. They think from their vaginas and assholes. They're from the opening of their vagina and the opening of their ass. I'm telling you the truth. This is the truth, okay? That's literally what they are. That's how God sees them too. Like, that's just the truth, okay? And they can no longer project their slandering energy, their slandering ass, and their sower of discord at you collective and me and all of us. They could no longer do this, okay? They can no longer attempt to make it seem as if what we're doing when we're telling the truth is some sort of slander, as if we're the ones sowing discord, when in reality it is them that were attempting to, from the get-go, that was their weapon. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was what it was that they were trying to form against us. When we say no weapon formed against us, and then they're like, how dare you type shit, when it's actually, how dare they? You see what I mean? Because that's what it is about the 8th and 9th layer. The haughty will always say, how dare you? How haughty are you? You see what I'm saying? Let me mention this, because I remember writing this down in the last thing. This is where they were trying to create speculation at, where to make it seem as if, like I said, everything on the earth the dimensions kind of overlap. So where they were trying to make it seem as if that it was some sort of slander against them, they were trying to cause speculation. Are they really in hell? Are they not really in hell? They are in hell, and they're going to hell in the spirit as well. So basically, it's the whole thing, right? Here. So basically, let me find it. Let me show you where. So 8th circle, fraud, right? So church leaders who sold sacred offices, corrupt politicians, officials who sold justice taking bribes. You see, hypocrites, those who projected false virtue while abusing their roles. Fraudulent counselors, leaders who misled or manipulated with authority. Okay, then they go right onto the ninth circle afterwards, right? So those who betray kin, country, guests, or benefactors, the ultimate authority bonds, right? Then we have where Satan is at, right? There's Judas, Brutus, and Cassius, right? Betrayers of Christ and Caesar. I knew it. I knew it. Oh my gosh, I knew that Caesar was in Christ. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Cause I was okay. Sorry, I got really excited because like I was like talking about. I was like Caesar. Like no way. Like you know what I mean? Because like oh my gosh. I don't know how to explain to you. Okay, I don't know how to explain this kind of discussion. I was going. I was like, Caesar. Like, is that you? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Stop. Because now I'm getting shy. Stop. Because I can't be doing that. Oh my gosh. Because I'm such a woman. I'm sweating, bro. I'm sweating like it's hot. It's purifying me. Oh my gosh. Like when I tell you, anyway, aren't Satan's jaws at the center? Okay. Whew. So, whew, okay. Wait. General abuse of authority, eighth circle, where the fraud is, right? Ultimate betrayal of authority. I'm getting like it's starting to make me drunk. You know when you take the wine. I can't like anyway, I'm enduring. Okay. There's something I was really looking for, which is yeah, there it is. The hoarders in the eighth circle, right? Is that what it is? Oh no. For in the fourth circle, so this might be the question you might be asking the person here is like, what about like those people who are obsessed with material wealth kind of energy? Why I said like, oh, if there's any money like here, let me know types like types here, right? So they're miserable, and they also want to spread bitterness. So that might be why you're in that energy trying to overcome it, right? So the punishment is to roll enormous weights and great stones against each other, crashing endlessly. It's a really tough one, right? It's a really tough one. It's a fourth circle, or basically the hell gate is of covetous energy, which is why we're closing that out. We're constantly because it was like, what was the word that I mentioned? Futile. It was futile to try and open it anymore. Let's just keep it that way. It was like causing a lot of like obstruction, but it was because that wasn't the real gate. It was like an illusion of it, right? It's like the people who worship Satan, the people who worship like demonic presences and creatures and stuff, they draw up the image of it in order to scare people. It's like to ward angels away or something like that, because they're trying to like do a tit for tat situation, because where we draw symbols to ward off demons and spirits away, they're trying to do like a revenge kind of thing, right? They're trying to like mock revenge, right? But it's all in the energy of futility. It really is, which is also in the energy of fraud, right? You see, they're trying to draw up these empties and then act like we're supposed to be scared of them, right? That's fraud. They're trying to scam us. It's not a real thing. It's not real. But what'd you call it? But the people now, sorry, not the people, the individuals who now want to act like as if the wards aren't real when it comes from us, like the shamans, 144 by the way, the shamans who create warding and like warding symbols to now, like, you know what I mean, ward off bad energy and like our prayers and stuff. Like they try to act like that's not real, right? And why this reading is called data and intel and data is because of that energy. Avaricious or hoarders, and prodigal, wasteful, because of the hoarders and the wasteful. The hoarders shout, why do you hoard? That's their projection. That's how they project. It's them that are the hoarders, and yet they attempt to abuse dismissal and refute and authority, all so that they can say, as if that it is you that is hoarding, to ask why it is that you're hoarding when you're not. You see what I'm saying? You're not. It's them. They know more than you do about hoarding. So you're innocent in the situation, and yet they're trying to act as if that they're not doing that. It's crazy, right? That is if you are indeed not a hoarder, right? So then the prodigals shout, "Why do you waste?" But the reality of the situation is they're the ones that are wasteful. They would know more than you about being wasteful. Like you wouldn't even know anything about being wasteful, right? But they're attempting to take advantage of the authority to not waste, right? The access to resources so that there would be no waste within the situation, which is resourcefulness. And then also projecting the eternal conflict of their punishment to act as if they're not in that eternal punishment. You see what I'm saying? So all of it is all in the fourth circle of hell. So you don't have to go through that, collective, Christ Consciousness Collective. You don't have to waste your energy with that. You don't have to force yourself to now, why are they doing this and how are they doing? You don't have to do all that. No, what do? You hold your dignity steadfast and you move away. You move forward. And if they're trying to create something around you to force you to stay or do all that, you must understand that the authority of Christ is within you. They have no authority over you or in you. They are not connected to you, right? They have no connection to God in that way. So they cannot attempt to make it seem as if that you are an object, ninth dimensional energy, of their hoarding. You see what I'm saying? It's like the only thing that they could hoard has already been hoarded. Thus, the only thing that they can prepare for is the punishment. You see what I'm saying? You, on the other hand, collective, are already prepared for your blessing from the past that you already prepared yourself for the present in. You see what I'm saying? So the fragmented market. So this will be the end of the reading. Yeah, we have the open market and the fragmented market. So you got the pressure for coordination amongst many small players. So this also has to do with the ancestral patterns of this. So the ancestors are overcoming the fragmented market right now. So the challenge for pressured coordination. So the ancestors are learning to coordinate things amongst each other, all the different aspects of ancestral patterning, right? So this is something that's going on right now. So this is all in the name of unity, right? So that there would be bridges amongst ancestral patterns, all to merit cooperation, to show forth cooperation and to attract cooperation. This is happening in the future and in the past. Presently, the open market is where there is pressure for fair access. You see what I'm talking about now? Pressure for fair access. The reality is pressured fairness. There has to be fairness in a situation. Fairness can only come about by justice, and justice can only be truly brought about by God and his grace. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important. So what is grace if not immeasurable and from God? The only one that can provide immeasurable and continuous and eternal grace is God. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they were trying to create limit, as if that you can't. There you go. Sorry about that. So to make it seem as if that you can't be graced in a specific way, or as if that grace only comes about sometimes and not always, or as if that you limit your own grace in a situation even. But the reality, remember the hoarding? That's the reality, is that they're trying to hoard intel and information about their own idea of grace. It's not real. They're not receiving grace, especially not in hell. You see what I'm saying? So it's like they can't project that you're suffering from the same thing that you're not. I think that the reading started all over again, because why is it 10:16? I think that the last reading got cut off or something. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on. But basically that's what it is. Fair access, right? So the whole thing is to compete fairly within a situation, right? There has to be fair competition in order for there to be trust accumulated, right, through fair competition, right? Fair competition is also like is within an open market. It's like Like, how do you, let me give you an example of fair competition. Or let me ask ChatGPT to generate an example, because these are like economic terms. So like, let me see. Example of fair competition in an. So an example of fair competition in an open market. Oh my gosh, bro. So, okay. Sorry. Oh my gosh, my cat is so cute. An example of fair competition within an open market would be, so okay, here. Imagine a Saturday farmers market in a city square, right? Dozen of farmers sell fresh tomatoes. Each farmer sets their own price. Customers freely walk around. I was thinking of that as an example too, but not tomatoes, but that kind of market. Customers freely walk around, compare quality, taste samples, and choose who to buy from. Farmers can lower prices, improve freshness, or offer bundles. Buy 2 baskets, get one free, right? To attract customers. No single farmer blocks another from selling. The customers aren't forced to buy anything from one seller. That is fair competition. Everyone competes openly and the customer benefits. Another example would be tech startups. Like, let's do that, right? Multiple small app developers release language learning apps on the Apple's App Store. Each app is free to list, right? Customers can try any of them. Developers compete by making better features, offering free trials, or using creative teaching methods. No developer bribes Apple to hide competitors or forces users to use into their app only. Again, fair, open competition, innovation, and choice thrive. Innovation and choice thrive. So in that, would you call it? There's fair competition. You see what I mean? So that also fair access. You see what I mean? Fair access or fairness in the situation is what is being simulated. The pressure is on fairness, right? It's like, how fair can things be? So now, when you understand that fairness can evolve, right? So let's ask, fairness can evolve. How can there be a development of fairness? Because then it would include like quality and quantity, right? So fairness as a starting point, as its root, fairness means balance, equity, justice, and treatment, right? Basically, fairness often meant equal shares. So first, equality, everybody gets the same thing. Equity, people get what they need to reach the same opportunity, right? Let's say 1 cookie each. 2, if one child is hungry, they might get more food. Inclusion, fairness grows to recognize difference in voice, background, and context, not just giving resource, but making sure all perspectives are respected, right? Justice, fairness evolves into systematic correction, where structures themselves are rebalanced, anti-discrimination laws, and market regulation. So, market example would be early open markets, no cheating in weights or measures. Industrial era, fairness, limiting monopolies so competition is real. Modern era, consumer protection, data privacy, equal digital access. There you go, data privacy. Now we're here. You see what I'm talking about? Now we're here, data privacy. So that is all a part of fair access or pressured fairness. So now we know the people who wanted to abuse data privacy, right, are missing integrity to be in the open market. You see what I'm talking about now? So that would allow not for trust to evolve, which is why the fragmented market is stepping in. Now the ancestors have to step into the fragmented market because there is coordination amongst, what you call it, the small players, or sorry, there's pressure for coordination, right? So this is like the ancestors requiring an objective, right? So to provide that objective, there has to be, remember when I said to rise your dignity, there has to be dignity within goals. So yeah, it's like where you are choosing to be, not only is it a part of your destiny, but it also assists your lineage. It has to be one with God, unity. It has to be unified. It really is a challenge. The whole concept is to show you what real data privacy looks like. This is all for your benefit. This is all for you. That's grace. You see what I'm talking about? That's what they wanted to act like didn't exist, by the way. What? Data privacy. You see what I'm talking about? This is like why I'm like also doing the readings. For example, yeah, there's a lot. Hold on one second. Let me grab this right here. So, seasonal market, right? Adaptability, pressure for adapting to cyclical demand. There's a lot here. This is a lot of manipulation. Yeah, anchor thief persona. This is the card that came out in the beginning of the reading. Every time I say I'm about to finish it, this is what happens. Removes a person's stability to make them easier to sway. Anchor thief persona. They want to take away merit for reliability. Remember, I mentioned reliability earlier. Are you reliable to yourself? Remember? They were trying to literally come in between. I mentioned this at the beginning of the reading where they were trying to create their own narrative to now interlude your narrative to make it seem as if that you didn't know where you're going. When in reality, the decision to even get to where you're going hasn't even been made yet. Yeah, incestuous, abuses kinship. Didn't I say that's them in the 8th layer, 8th to 9th layer? Remember, abuses kinship? Leviticus 18:6 through 17, 1 Corinthians 5:1, Surah 4:23, 10 evil acts, third body evil. There's a third body evil again. Yeah, driftwood persona, floats between groups, gatherings, crafts of influence. It's insane. Influence. That's, they're trying to compete with affluence. Man, this is crazy. Anyway, they're being thrown out of the consolidating market where they could even appear through balance. They're being kicked out of balance. Like they're being kicked out of balance, like pretty bad. Like they'll never be able to reach balance. They'll never be able to meet anyone with balance ever again. Yeah. They'll never be able to meet anyone with balance ever again. And anyone who's ever on their pathway towards balance would never be able to meet them. They will never meet them. Like collective, we're never going to see people like that ever again. Like they're being completely thrown out. Like it's so repulsive, those individuals, what they've been doing. Yeah, it's a lot. They're trying to hide. Yeah, I knew the contracting market was going to come out because that's like the 8th dimensional energy right now. Yeah, boaster, demonic. Oof, there's a lot. Witch, man, there's a lot. Yeah, mature market. There it is. That's what it was. That's what we were looking for. So basically, stewardship. Remember I mentioned the Lord and the King of Wands energy? They wanted to take over stewardship, which is something that God does. So you know how we're like, Jesus, take the wheel, because we really don't understand how he does what he does. Like we're just like, yeah, just do it because we don't know what it is or how it is. That's why we don't know. That's why, because it's like to protect us at the end of the day. We don't know how it is that, like, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. God moves in mysterious ways, right? So it's like they're trying to act like they too move in mysterious ways, and that's if that we are supposed to see them as God, right? Remember when I said they were trying to pretend to be alpha, right? That's what I'm trying to say. If the energy is not to preserve value, then it is not in the mature market. It is to deliberately destroy the mature market. Okay, it is the enemy of that market. It is the enemy of sweetness. Okay, the 12th, so your collective, or just for you, that one person that's watching this, you're the 12th house enemy coming from, you know what I mean, your side of the realm, probably is an enemy of sweetness, like attempts to disregard sweetness, attempts to hate on sweetness. It probably tries to consume you as well, cause you to be unsweet or whatever. Doesn't want you to be mature, wants you to be taken for granted young, you know what I mean, stuff like that. That's the enemy. The whole thing is to make seem as if that there's no loyalty in the world, right? As if the loyalty doesn't exist, as if that there's no such thing, as if that you wouldn't even know what that means or what that is, or as if that there's some sort of confusion around. No, that's all because they refused to overcome. They failed in the challenge with the pressure for sustaining established systems and quality. So it's like, meanwhile there's already established systems and there's pressure on established systems, they want to act like it's up to them to create quality in it, instead of accepting that there's quality already in established systems. So traditions, right? Those are important for a reason. They want to act like, nah, they're the ones who make tradition. No, this has been established. It's been established. Just pass the challenge. Just go through it. Just get your discipline. Yeah, learn to be loyal. That's all you got to do, is learn to be loyal, right? Actually, no, not really. What you really have to learn is to preserve your own value. We just talked about dignity. Dignity is valued. So preserve your dignity, right? That's the whole thing. You're doing it. That's loyalty. You're showing loyalty to God. Congratulations. That's it. They don't want you to accept that. They don't want you to see yourself as that. They want you to boast about it. They want you to boast around it to make seem. That's too much. That would be you not preserving your dignity. That would be you bearing false witness, but thou shalt not bear false witness. God already made sure that you wouldn't bear false witness. So that it isn't the environment that God put you in order for you to overcome the challenge that he created for you at the same time. So it goes full circle. Why wouldn't it go full circle for them? Because they don't want it to? That doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because even if you didn't want it to, it's still going full circle for you. So how come it's not going full circle for them? Because it's probably not the environment that God is letting them have. And now you know what grace is. It's really that easy. It really is that simple. Yeah, there it is. Like I said, they can't sow discord. They can't come around and sow discord towards you. They can't make you. Let me explain what discord is. First, I'm gonna look up this word. Then, well, it's following script, so you really understand the meaning of the word, right? The discord, lack of harmony, disagreement, conflict, strife. They can't come around you, come around me, come around any of us in the collective to now cause civil strife, quarrel, disharmony, lack of agreement, or disharmony. They can't come around and do all this. Look, discord became dissonance in harmony. You see what I was talking about? I was talking about earlier that they were trying to work through the void, right? They were trying to work through the void to project in dissonance, where they're being literally dematerialized and obliterated in. They're already suffering. They're already going through this and that. And they want to come here and do what? Like, with what power? With what? How? That wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It doesn't exist. So now they're being dropped into how? From 9D to 8D, they're being dropped. Like, someone is falling from glory bad. Someone's falling from glory real bad right now. But basically, yeah, just to explain what the sower of discord energy is so you can really understand it as well. Attempts to contort circumstances to falsify judgment, right? Indecisive and confused. A person will really be indecisive and confused. Really be indecisive and confused and think that you're creating and think that they're like the one solving conflicts in your life. They're being indecisive and confused. They're the ones that are lost. They don't know what's going on, but they think that they're creating solutions for you, collective. That's crazy. Yeah? Anyway, Proverbs 6:19, Titus 3:10, Surah 2:191, Manusmriti 4:30, and there it is, 10 evil acts for speech. Because we took care of the 3 of body, right? We took care of the 3 of mind, 3 of body energy, and there they go, the last of them. the four of speech people, right? The ones who wanted to be gossipers type stuff. The ones who thought that that was the best of the best. They thought that they weren't gonna be in the eighth layer of hell. That they were gonna stay in the fourth layer type stuff, as if that they were being graced, as if that was nothing, that was easy. They're gonna roll these boulders. They're gonna roll the boulders for the rest of eternity. That's nothing. As long as they get to kill people, right? You see what I'm saying? They didn't think that they could be dropped. That's why it seemed as if that they were being dropped from grace. That's why. Wow. They're not in grace. They're being dropped lower to hell. That's all that's happening. They're not being dropped from grace. They're just dropping to lower in hell. That's it. Yeah. Because look at it. Look at them. They were trying to abuse profanity, or they were trying to be profane, stews in disgratification and distraction. See, they were going through punishment, and they were ungratified. They were disgratified. They're ungrateful, right? They're dumb and grateful. They wanted to be unholy. They wanted to cause distractions for others because they wanted to act as if that they weren't trying to distract themselves. And then they mocked innocence in vain. Remember, they were trying to mock virtue. I mentioned that earlier. They were trying to mock a specific energy. But that's what they were trying to abuse. That was the weapon that they were trying to use to get into the emerging market that literally is denying them. So the basis of the refutal is coming from the market itself. So God is the one rejecting them in the market, and they're trying to corrupt it to make it seem as if that they're not being profane towards his rejection. You know, yeah, it's like it's so easy to see. It's like someone being rejected, right? Let's say, look, all this happens to me all the time too. It's like on the street, right? If there's someone that I rejected and they go like, "Fuck you, you bitch," you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not a prostitute. I'm not going to sleep with you for money or anything like that. I'm not going to do that, right? Then they want to start yelling and screaming at me and being profane towards me. You know what I mean? It's the same energy. It's like they're being rejected from a market that we're not even there yet. We're just moving on, right? It's like we're going through the market in dignity. We're like, oh, yeah, like that tomato seems really nice. Yeah, I like that tomato, but that squash is really good. I like that squash. Yeah, you're really just minding your business. You're really just minding your business. And then you hear in the background, you're just hearing like, you're like, oh, like, come here, children, let's go this way. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. They're really being taken to hell like that. And you see, this is how you know heaven exists. This is how you know paradise exists. You're just being simulated to merge to that energy as you ascend, so that you can see, like, so they're being kicked out and you're being put in. It's like merging to a higher dimension. It's like, that's just how it works. At some point, you might actually go through it. You might actually go to a market if you have kids, with your kids, right? And if you don't, with maybe just, I don't know, with your friends, family, or maybe by yourself, and go through the same experience. And then you can integrate. That's quantum. Yeah. Maybe. I can't say that this is for sure happening. You might be on the other side. I don't know who I'm still talking to, right? But it's not about, what'd you call it, who at this point. It's about what is it? What was the question again? What was the question again? Maybe the question was something around, oh, it's how now. We've already gone through the 90s, so it's how. So they wanted to use profanity. Okay, so Leviticus 19:12, Ephesians 4:29, Surah 49:11, Manusmriti 2:11 for speech, right? 10 evil acts for speech. So this one I can actually look up with more fun. Like, this one is better. Yeah, so the emerging market is coming out now to celebrate us. So 19:12. So the emerging market is coming through to celebrate us. So, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. There you go. So there you go, right? Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto heavens. You see, that's what I was telling you. So that's what, yo, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know how to react. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Let me drink some water. So what I was trying to explain to you about creating a better environment and what creates a better environment is about ministry. It's empowering yourself through ministry. So we're going to do that and edifying too before we move on. Yes, exactly. And edifying. So basically, the office, function, work of minister, right? Office, service, attendance, aid. You see what I'm saying? So you that is here right now, you are in attendance. You see what I'm saying? So they can't touch you because you're in attendance. Whereas there's office and service here and aid. You see what I'm talking about? So the state of serving as one who is less and highlighting humility. You see what I'm talking about? Which is why pride can't get in the situation. You can't boast, and there's no boasting in this scenario, situation, right? So edifying means uplifting, right? Instructive. It means building, establishing, instruct morally, right? So that would also be soul building, as ChatGPT says. So this would be you rectifying. The energies of rectification. So remember when I mentioned that it was around the energy of, oh man, what was it called again? Reconciliation. So now it ascended from reconciliation to rectification. Rectification as an MENT word as well as any of it. So now we're gonna help ground this energy so that when you leave here, right, it's still with you, right? Which would be rectification works like enlightenment, development, and that's how we started the reading. So now we're full circle. This is why I do what I do. This is my job, right? So like I said, I'm an earth angel. I'm the initiating earth angel of the 144K. Yes, initiating, first and the last. So rectification is not formed, MENT, but functions the same abstract noun. So process or state of correcting, setting right, or making it true. Act of rectifying, the correction itself. You see what I'm saying? Which is what allows you to proceed through with caution, discernment, and understanding that, yes, you as a human may make mistakes, but the mistake isn't what brings you to God. It's the rectification. You see what I mean? That's why understanding weaknesses and your strengths are super important. So you have, what'd you call it? To set right, rectification, and so what'd you call it? Adjustment, amendment. There it is. Amendment, settlement. You know what? No, that's not the word. It was development, wasn't it? See, now they're playing games with me. You see how they're playing games with me? Because they're trying to act like they didn't already give me the word, but they're trying to take it back. No, it's too late. The promise was made. There's no backtracking here. Like, period. Now they mad. Remember when I said they were mad? Yeah, exactly. We heard that. We heard it. We heard it. We heard that profanity. Let's see it now. Surah 49. If you didn't know what was going on, they were coughing out there. I can't make this up. And so it says, "O you who have believed, let not a people ridicule another people. Perhaps they may be better than them, nor let women ridicule other women. Perhaps they may be better than them, right? And do not insult one another, and do not call each other by offensive nicknames. Wretched is the name of disobedience after one's faith, and whoever does not repent, that it is those who are the wrongdoers. Get it? So no mockery or ridicule, equal respect for men and women, no insulting or name calling, identity in faith, right? And repentance, okay? That is all within the dignity, right? That's the gift of dignity to you that God gave you, right? So yeah, look at it. In essence, Surah 49:11 is about dignity, respect, and humility. Now you understand. Like, there's no way to fake it. There's no way to falsify it. There's just no way, right? It is effective in its own rectification. It corrects itself. All you got to do is commemorate, or is it commemorates? Sorry, not commemorates. I apologize. Not commemorates. Is to minister it, right? Think about ministry and the word ministry. What also sounds like ministry? Administration. You see what I'm saying? So administration within the situation would have to do like with delegation of self, delegation of will, and discipline. That is all within shepherding. You see why they wanted it? You see why they wanted it? So the whole thing, why the emerging market is now glorifying God, right? And allowing you to like move forward in it, right? Is because the pressure for new opportunity in untapped areas has been overcome, right? Now that the pressure, the real pressure, the whole pressure of the market, the real market, right? Which will always be an emerging market. A market is always emerging, right? It's always within pressure. It's about overcoming it, overcoming strife, overcoming pressure. Strife comes about by them, not by the pressure. You hear me now? Pressure is naturally there, like a flow from the waterfall to the river, right? That's natural. It's not our fault that some idiot decided to now put themselves, force themselves in there, not see the edge of the water, and now fall onto the thing and die. You know what I mean? It's not our fault. You see what I'm saying? It's like, were they a master who was supposed to stand under a waterfall? Or did they not see that there was a mud flood coming from above that was going to hit? You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. They didn't want to use their eyes. They didn't want to use perspective. They didn't want to see things for how they are. They didn't want to accept what it is, right? But they wanted to act as if now is your response. Like, what? You're not responsible for their intellect. You're not responsible for their data and intellect. That's what this reading is coming to. You are not responsible for their data and intellect. And the same thing applies to yourself. They are not responsible for your data and intellect. Whatever you receive and whatever you learn and whatever you discover, it was not up to them to recognize for you, okay? It wasn't up to you to recognize for them, okay? So at the same time where someone could have taken advantage of your wisdom, let's say like a false teacher, acting as if that they taught you something, whatever it is you learned because you got it. You learned that. Not because you could have learned that anywhere, anyhow. Because God is the one that would be the real teacher in the situation. You see what I'm saying now? So they can't act like they did so much for you. They can't. And they can't make you feel as if that you have to present yourself as if that you've done so much for them. Because at the same time, you didn't teach them to do that. You see what I'm saying? So, initiative is the nobility within the situation. It's to pioneer beneficial offerings. So you see how the other card came out where they were pretending to bring out, I said in the beginning of the reading and earlier in the reading, how they were pretending to give out beneficial offerings, or they were pretending to offer something of high value when it wasn't. Now you understand that you are the one who with initiative that then pioneers beneficial offerings within the pressure of the market, right? That allows for recognition. You see what I'm saying? The recognition is within you to administer in grace that allows for the ministry of it to perform exaltation on you. so that then you may become exalted and accepting exaltation from God. It is all one pattern. And they can't be profane about it anymore. Yeah. They're speechless at this point. There goes the speech. Yeah, for speech. There goes the speech. They're speechless now. They're losing their speech and ability to speak. That's it. They're losing their speech and ability to speak. Before you know it, they'll be losing sight, movement, action. They'll be losing it all. Mind, they'll be losing it all. Trust. I'm telling you. Well, yeah, look, they can't gossip anymore. With what speech? What speech? They sound crazy. They sound crazy. They don't know what to say. Remember when I was like that? That's them. That's them now. We got plenty to say, right? But silence is golden, and we register that. We recognize the silence within the situation rather than the lack of speech. You see what I'm saying? So oligopolistic market is here and the contracting market is here. So I guess we're going to tap into that in the next reading. But there they are exposed as a bribe giver. We already knew that this was coming. How many times had bribe been said in the reading? We knew that this was coming. There they are, the bribe giver, right? They were trying to use balance breaker. You see what I'm saying? They were trying to get into balance. There they are, the little loser minion that was trying to enter balance and now steal and yeah, controls, contorts self to bind lies to reality. You see what I'm saying? Assumes favor beyond ordinance. Remember, I mentioned ordinary. I mentioned something being mundane, and they were trying to contort and like abuse ordinance, right? What is ordinary? What is mundane? Which should be honored, actually. Or what is mundane must be honored to God. It is not banal and odious, but they were trying to force it to be. But mundanity is also my sister. You know what I mean? So there's no way that you're going to abuse her. Like, there's just no way. Because, like I said, mundanity comes through by ordinance. And ordinance, or sorry, the ordinary. And the ordinary can only be there with anointing, through anointed. So how is it not from God if it is exactly from God? You know what I mean? Mundanity is a gift of groundedness. It allows you to perceive justice and presence and here now. You know what I mean? So they wanted to effectively steal from God. Like, what is the word again? They wanted to steal from God, quantum leaping, hyper jumping. That's what it is. Hyper jumping. They wanted to steal from God the ability to hyper jump. Can you imagine? To steal from God the ability of hyper jumping. Hyper jumping, let me explain to you what hyper jumping is. So basically, quantum jumps in atoms, electrons jump instant. This is all in time, too much. So basically, yeah, I'm just literally asking for one thing. Okay, here it is. Speculative physics. So this is in the speculative market. This is a real market. The speculative market isn't evil. The markets aren't evil themselves. That's another thing you must understand. They're all there with reason and purpose. The 44. But the reality of the situation is that it's in the speculative market, which allows for assessing high risk processes. Let's just keep it that way. But basically, hyper jumping means leaping across vast space, hyperspace travel. Basically, leaping across vast space. You see what I mean? So it's like basically. I don't know what it is about this thing is trying to go against me right now. like it's so annoying. Like, I'm telling you, they're really doing the most right now. Okay, so basically, Yeah, moves from one energy level to another atom. It doesn't pass through or in between states. Right. So term is loosely applied to quantum tunneling. A particle suddenly appearing past a barrier it shouldn't cross. Right? There it is. Quantum tunneling. A particle suddenly appearing past a barrier it shouldn't cross. Who is the one that can do that? You see what I mean? So arguably, speculatively, something wouldn't be able to be as is if it hadn't been because of God. They want to make it seem as if that they control that. The impossible, right? The miraculous. See? The mysterious. It's all coming through now, right? Non-local entanglement. Correlations between particles that appear instant as if they've jumped across space. Sudden discontinuous transition in quantum systems, right? Suddenty, right? Transitions in quantum systems. So no smooth in between. There's no, it's like when something leaps from one thing to another, is the energy of translocation, or the energy of, specifically, what is it called again? Not transferring. Translocation, or what is it called again? Teleportation. Teleportation. They want to make it seem as if that they weren't trying to take away the concept of teleportation, which is a very real thing that God can do. Like, God can do it all. God is everything. You know what I mean? Like, why should we be limited? You see the sorcery now? Why should we be limited in knowing what God can and cannot do? If God chooses to appear right in front of me right now in his human vessel and to do whatever he chooses to do, he can. He can. What is all this where they're trying to speculate? You see what I'm saying? Against what it is and what isn't. They don't have the right authority, power, or control, right? And that's where they want to start swearing and being profane, and as if that gave them right authority. Okay, so what speech? That's it. That was not speech, was it? No, it was prostitute. Look at them. Look at them. You see that? You remember when I said that they were assholes and cunts? Yeah, that's cunt energy. Them being an actual cunt. You see, didn't I tell you that God looks at them as that? See? I kid you not. Like, I don't even have to read that. We already knew it was coming. So, Throne Watcher waits patiently for a leader to falter so that they can take over. So they were taking away patience in the situation. They didn't expect God to teleport. they didn't expect us to teleport too. But what'd you call it? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there with hater and debauchery and what'd you call it? Fornication, which is rape. So you know what fornication really means, right? Yeah, so that you can really understand it. Yeah, bestialis, there it is. Yeah, it is what it sounds like. Prostitute, bestialis, fornicator, yeah. It is exactly what it sounds like. Okay. Yeah, there they are. Signal interceptor persona. So you understand why are those cards coming out then? Yeah, because they're signal interceptor persona. Because all they do is try to intercept signals to make it seem as if that they had as if they were given any kind of grace for some sort of data or intel. As if that they weren't abusing authority and power to be profane. You see what I'm saying? Remember when I was telling you about hoarders and how they were doing things to make it seem as if that they weren't doing things, to make it seem as if that you would see them not as a hoarder, but as if you would see yourself, so that you would project it onto them to make you confused about it. Yeah, all that, just so that you can't buy your tomatoes? Like, just so you can't talk to get the best kind of cucumber? Like, are you serious? Like, you see what I'm saying? They're crazy. They're crazy. Do not as they do. Be not as they are. Okay? That's all. You see, look, money craze. That's who's really money craze. You see the situation now? Switchblade persona turns friendly to hostile instantly when opportunity arises. Yeah, takes messages meant for others to distort them. That's it. They want to keep up their signal interceptor persona and their switchblade persona. They want to keep it up. They want to act as if they have the ability to take messages, be graced, right? They want to make it seem as if they have the ability to be graced, have it, as in hold dominion over it, as if. You see what I'm talking about? Crazy. And crazy. In hell, too. Like, they're suffering. Like, let me tell you, they're suffering, bro. They're suffering, sis. They're suffering. And instead of facing their suffering, like as you are facing yours, right? The scarcity and whatnot. Yeah, it's on earth, so. And, like, okay, at least it's not in hell. That's grace. Yeah? They, instead of facing their suffering like you and everybody else is, right? Like Jesus did, they want to instead face our I don't know. They want to face our dignity. You see what I'm talking about? Trying to fight our dignity. Like, hell no. Yeah, even my cat doesn't agree. That's some crazy nonsense. So trans-friendly to hostile instantly when opportunity arises. There it is. That's what they were projecting even onto my cat. Yeah, you see? This her, she's a very friendly cat. But sometimes some things will happen and she will suddenly turn hostile. And they've been, I'm telling you, they've been projecting, they've been trying to make it seem as if that they have dominion over it, when it's actually confusion to intercept messages so that the neural functions don't function the way they're supposed to. I'm telling you, this whole month, she's been so good. She's been so good this whole month. I'm telling you, like, the past few months growing up, it was hard for her to stop them and to hold her dignity so that she could protect mine, because she is my guardian. You know what I mean? She's a cat after all. But what'd you call it? Yeah, they can't do it anymore. They can't act friendly. There's something about acting friendly. They abuse kinship. See, and BCIs came out too. You see what I'm talking about? Oh, shit is I'm like, I feel repulsed. Like, I feel like I'm about to blow up. Actually, I feel like disgusted. They like, you see what I was telling you about with prostitute energy? Shit is insane. I need to brush your hair. So signal interceptor persona, right? They were trying to make it seem as if that they weren't receiving, or that they were receiving. Bribe taker, bribe giver. They wanted to make it seem as if that they weren't taking bribes through with false intel, false messages. Yeah. They wanted to make it seem like they weren't taking bribes with false messages, like false intel, gossip, as if that they weren't sent to cause distraction. They can't pretend about that anymore. Yep, they can't pretend about that anymore. All of it is falling apart. Obsessive ensnared energy, yeah. They can't cause ensnarement for people, to cause people bitterness, so that they are not paying attention to the fact that they're being distracted, right? They can't do that anymore. See, game board in reverse. They can't pretend to be a game board persona anymore. Curtain puller persona. Yeah, poison chalice. Remember the poison chalice from before? It's in reverse now. Yeah, obsessive ensnared in reverse. They thought that they could convince people that things were being done all for naught in hysteria, right? As if that they would project their own ensnarement onto others to make it seem like others would do the same energy of like, why not rob a bank? Why not kill a child? Why not rape a dog? Like, you know what I mean? Like that energy. It's real sick. Yes, it is real sick. It's like crazy to project it distractions instead of solutions. Yeah. Or rape a goat. Disgusting. Think they control vanity and substance. There's even more to that than you can even imagine. But they're being caught as a thief. They're being caught as a thief, right? Harvest planner persona times interventions to take the largest possible gain. So they might have thought that they had the power to intervene, right? Interventions are like, yeah, they thought that they had the times. There it is. They thought they had the power of times. You know, times and time and more of times. You know, in the scripture here. Yeah, time, times, and half a time, right? And they shall be given unto his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of time. It shall be given for a time, times, and half, a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all things shall be finished. That's the fragmented market, right? And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. Sorry, that's hi. And that she might fly into the wilderness, right? This is what we were talking about, into her place where she's nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent, right? From the face of the serpent. So there you go. You can understand, like, facing. Like, remember they want to face our dignity. You hear it now. It's coming together, right? It's coming together, right? I told you I'm the Empress. Anyways, I'll just keep going. So basically, they thought that they had the power over, I said they had dominion over a time and times and half a time. They thought they had also, like, this is how crazy, that's crazy, right? We don't even know what that really particularly means right now, but they thought they had power and mystery and control and all that majesty over it. Like, it was crazy. Like, it's so hard to articulate just how crazy it is, okay? But they're being seen as a thief of the intel and wisdom around a time and times and half a time, which is something that basically, didn't God say that no one would really understand until he was the one that was to give the information about it anyways? So like I said, they were trying to use forbidden wisdom, which is like intel that isn't even directly correlated to it, the truth and reality, all in order to cause some sort of despair and confusion. There's so much. And they always think they're doing something petty. That's the thing. They always go like, oh, but what did I do that's so wrong? Like, that's what they do. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just like the K-drama I watched, yeah? It's just like the K-drama. The lady done poisoned the head of the company. The guy done almost died. There was a whole family system that done almost crashed. She even pretended to die herself so that she could change her, you know what I mean, her information, like her identity, and then gave birth to a son from another man who then, tried to intervene into the family function situation to try and now use the illness of the oldest daughter to break away them. And then she's like, what did I do wrong? Like, that shit was crazy. Like, that's them. That's their ass. They be looking mad stupid and crazy, trying to act like they didn't do nothing. Right. Pretends life is too hard. They literally pretend life is too hard. Like, they didn't just try and, like, commit a murder, commit multiple murders, try and steal from an empire. You know what I mean? Try and pretend as if they died so that they can give birth to a child in secret. Now lie to the child. Like, they act like life is too hard. It's too hard to now just go to the market and buy your tomatoes and cucumbers. No, they have to now commit multiple murders, scheme their way. Like, that's not too hard. Man, that shit took 60 years to accomplish. And it didn't even work. It was broken down in less than a year, in less than a month, really. Mm-hmm. But they want to act like that wasn't too hard. It was too hard to just listen to God and be in agreement with God. Like, are you serious? Like, this is crazy. Like, and they really project like life is so hard. Like, they really do. They project it to make things banal, and odious. Now you know, to make it seem as if the mundane is the issue when it's not. The mundane has never been the issue. It has never been. It should be a reward, if anything. Like, you know how many times I'll be thanking God that I really can just walk around. Like, I can really just get dressed right now and go to the park. Like, dang, that's really cool. Like, I know time. Like, yeah, exactly. Time. There you go. I know a time. I know a time where I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, even just a knowing of it is giving me so much. It's giving me so much mercy, grace, reward, and thanks. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm not even doing it right now, but I'm so thankful. Imagine if I actually did it. You see what I'm saying? So, assumes guardianship over darkness. There you go. Assumes guardianship over darkness. See what I was talking about. So there's a time of darkness, or maybe times of darkness, or maybe half a time of darkness. You know what I mean? And they literally are trying to act like it's their darkness. They are in control of it. Everyone has to bow down to them because they want to be God. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is crazy, bro. And it's taking them thousands and thousands and thousands of years to do that shit, bro. Just die. Just go to hell and die, bro. Just that'll be easier. Like, oh my gosh, bro. This is crazy. Yes, it went finally, yo. Thank God, bro. See, Exodus 20:15, Ephesians 4:28, Surah 5:38, Manusmriti 8:3-32. Yeah, 10 evil acts, second body evil. There they are. The second body of it. Now you see how it's going from 4. Slowly is they're being found. It's soon it's gonna be the first body evil, because they're gonna be found guilty all through and through. I'm telling you, God is not playing with them. They wanted to take over times. Where leaders sought out accountability, so that they would seem as if that they were responsible for the shadows of those leaders. To make it say, I mentioned this in my last reading where they were trying to act like a shadow. I mentioned this, but it was actually stalking. Like it was big on stalking. Yeah, look, witch in reverse. They can't do it anymore. Money craze upright. Yeah, they're being caught. Like they're just being caught. Like, you know, when someone's just being caught, like they wanted to take something like a, I don't know how to explain to you how crazy it'd be looking. Like, here, I'll ask chat to generate it. Because it's better that way. That way it doesn't manifest in real life, right? It's because if it generates through the AI, it's easier that way. I'm just gonna explain it's easier that way, okay? So let's see. Okay. So, oh my gosh, this is insane. So, okay, we'll not name, no names, please, actually. Okay. So, see how it's trying to play with me right now. Okay. Here. Okay, this is perfect, actually. This is perfect. Okay. So, everyone in the office knew about the obsession. While others left at 5, the money-crazed workers stayed late, flipping through spreadsheets, looking for a way to siphon a little more. They dressed sharp, bragged loudly about new gadgets, and never joined coworkers for lunch unless someone else was paying. For months, the act worked. Nobody questioned why the numbers didn't add up, or how the bonuses kept landing in the wrong account. When the auditors finally traced the missing funds, the mask cracked. The confident swagger turned into stammering excuses. It was just a loan. I was going to pay it back. Security walked them out, and the same coworker who once rolled their eyes at the bragging now whispered in pity. After being caught, the hunger that once looked like ambition showed itself for what it was: desperation and ruinous greed that left nothing behind but shame. There you go. That's how easy. That's how the AI can generate a story. Like, the AI knows about it. Like, they're not getting away with shit. Trust. I'm telling you, trust in God. They are these evil doer, whatever. It don't matter. It's been written. It can be rewritten and regenerated. Like, the craziness about the situation is insane. Yeah, there it is. Bell ringer persona. There they are, being the 12th house enemy energy, because they can't signal poison anymore. They can't poison the signal to act as if they're coming in like it's like a fake plumber, bro. It's so obvious. It's like a fake plumber. They wanna poison the waters, right? And then when you're like, dang, I need a plumber. Knock, knock, knock. There they go. Hi, I'm a plumber. I want to help you out when you're plumbing. Yeah, hell nah. No, 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 no. I'm just going, hell nah. They literally, that's what it means. They were signal intercepting by trying to poison the signal and then coming and acting like they're trying to fix it, right? Oh man, on some astral energy. Yeah, it's making me itch. It's making me itch. Yeah, raises alarm to distract from one's own actions. I'm telling you, see what I'm saying? It's making me itch. So they wanted to be the enemy to the deregulated market, right? Which is pressured adaptation, where you're adapting to a circumstance, utilizing your courage, because that's the only way that your dignity is going to rise, right? Because you need courage in the situation, or you're not needing of courage. You are courageous without the needing. You see? You're courageous without the need, courageous without the want. It allows you to accustom yourself to bravery. That's Jesus. That literally brings you closer to Jesus. It literally brings you closer to God. And so, what you call it? It allows for innovation responsibly. Remember where there was innovation before? Yeah, and that merits for growth. So now there's growth within the situation that leads you directly towards development. So they want to raise alarms now. That's what it is. They want to raise alarms now. Now that's their main priority. They're panicking. They want to raise an alarm. They want everything to stop. They want to poison everything. They want to do things. Yeah, they're being caught. They're being caught. Remember, I said they're being caught. Yeah, they're being caught because they wanted to act as if that there was some sort of underground market that they could be stupid about. Ingrate. Remember I mentioned the ingrate energy? They can't. I already caught that earlier. They can't do that anymore because defrauder. See, it keeps coming out. We're going to have to close this out. We're going to have to close it out. Because I don't know how they were getting through the fourth layer. It was like it's like they made some sort of tunnel. Let me see what here. Here it is. Y'all don't understand their idolatry. There it is, idolater. The unmerciful one isn't even there anymore. The idolater is caught because remember earlier I said must honor or something like that, right? They were caught. So this is nothing for you to fear, collective. Okay, this is not something that you're supposed to fear. Okay, this is what they're going through. Okay. Ooh, okay, that's a lot. I knew it. Okay, I knew it. Oh man, I knew it. Okay, we're gonna close this out really right now. So, alchemists, counterfeiters, and liars, right? Here it is. Oh, so basically, it was that they were projecting heavy the punishment, right? Without actually the doing of the thing. It was weird. But let's just read it out. Okay. Seducers and panderers, driven back and forth by demons with whips. Flatterers, immersed in a river of human excrement, symbolizing their false, filthy words. I knew that it wasn't the first or second layer. I knew it because they really thought that it was, wow. Simoniacs, right? Church officials who sold sacred things, buried headfirst in rock, feet sticking out, burned by flames. Diviners, astrologers, and sorcerers. You see what I was telling you about? Diviners. Okay? These are all individual astrologers too. Yeah, you'd be surprised. It's not about, oh, you read the stars and you're like, yeah, that's what that means, and that's what that means, and that's how that influences that, and that's how influence. Astrologers are like more like diviners, right? People who are like, this is what your fate is, and that's how it is in the stars, and you must know. That's them. That's them, evil motherfuckers. Like, that's not it at all. God is the mover of the stars. He can move the stars. He can move the sun, the wind. Everything is in his control. There is no thing that can't be moved by God. Okay? God is the creator of all. It's really about understanding it. It's really about it. So sorcerers, heads twist backwards, forced to walk backwards forever. Didn't that happen? That happened in China. There was actually video footage of that happening in China. These guys, like, their necks, like, twisted all around and they died. That's how it is forever. Yeah. I'm telling you. Corrupt politician barraters, submerged in boiling pitch, guarded and tortured by demons. There it is, guarded and tortured by demons. There you go. So they wanted to act like that they were, you know, when motherfuckers be trying to act like they Satan, they the evilest of them all, like they the baddest of the baddest, right? So they wanted to act like they had control over the demon that they wanted to make seem as if that they were the ones guarding over, which was the darkness that they were attempting to make seem as if we're in the times when none of that was going on. Hypocrites wear heavy cloaks of gilded lead, beautiful outside, crushing inside, right? That's where the obliteration is occurring, the dematerializing, right? It's through the crushing inside, right? Thieves, there they are, tormented by snakes, right? Take it as it resonates. Constantly bitten, burned, and transformed into reptiles. Get it? Okay. Fraudulent counselors enveloped. See, I told you hell doesn't happen when you die. I warned them that hell doesn't happen when they die. Fraudulent counselors enveloped in tongues of flame, each hidden in the fire that they abuse. This is what I was talking about. Fraudulent counselors. It's like the futility of their advice, right? So you like for example, here it's like I'm not even gonna set the example here. I'm gonna keep on going. What'd you call it? Sowers of discord, schism makers, right? There it is. Remember, I was saying I was like, what, and I was like glitching out and stuff like that. So, sowers of discord. So they're the ones that are causing this. Okay, they're the ones that are causing this, and then they're trying to intercept and act as if that, what'd you call it? People who are, then they're trying to incur falsification. That's what I'm trying to say. They're trying to incur sin, right? By sowing discord. So schism makers, mutilated by a demon's sword, their wounds heal only to be cut open again, which is what they were trying to cause for me. They were trying to project this energy. Honestly, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but they really do this shit. Like it really is out here, right? And so falsifiers, the last one of that, basically, alchemists, counterfeits, and liars. So alchemy is not something, is the art of Egypt, okay? And what happened in Egypt, remember when they said you were a guest in Egypt and stuff like that? What happened in Egypt was truly disappointing, to say the least. It was a big lesson for all of us. It wasn't the, because you know, in my past life, it was like, it's about correcting it. Remember, it's about correcting it. It wasn't the increments and the details of it that were in the wrong. It was the outcome that occurred through the intention that couldn't be stopped. Remember when I said that the promise was already made, there's nothing that can be done about it, right? It's already going to happen kind of situation. That's what I'm talking about. Because when something was discovered, it was discovered later than the intention was set. So there couldn't have been a pivot because a pivot hadn't been manifested yet. There hadn't been a pivot yet. But a pivot was sought instead of God. You see what I'm talking about now? A pivot was set instead of God. And that was like a grave sin in Egypt. So it's better in this timeline, in this lifetime, it's better because we are in the golden age. So now people are becoming wiser in the situation. Like I said, it's all step by step. Remember when I said the ancestors were in the fragmented market and God mentioned the fragmented market there as well? That's what we're talking about. So it's like, be aware of that feeling that you probably feel like you need to repent. You probably feel that, right? If you do, then please do repent, because it will assist you, will help you, because even you may not realize what it was that really went wrong, right? What it is that really went right or wrong in this situation. God will always give you your own weaknesses, right? This is what I'm trying to say. So falsifiers, alchemists, alchemy in the situation, art of Egypt, was more about confronting. It was more about confronting the impossible. It was about discovering mystery, discovering what'd you call it? faithhood. It was about discovering the divine. But just like communism, you know what I mean? Communism sounded like it was supposed to be good, right? But in reality, what really happened, that's why I'm not a communist. Same way I could say that I'm not an alchemist, right? Now, whereas before I would have thought I was. Just like how the Nazis were, you know what I mean? Where it sounded like one thing, but really was a whole other thing. Which is why fraudulent counselors and sowers of discord come right before the falsifiers, because the falsifiers are truly the ignorant. They don't realize or recognize what it is that they are idolatering. You see, idolatry comes through. That's why. That's why hypocrisy is also there. So they all get thrown in the same area. You see the danger? That's why. That's why if you just focus on God, none of this would have happened. Type shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's really the situation here, right? But at the same time, everyone has their own journey. That and God's path is truly the best path. And hey, we can't compare our path to God. You know what I mean? So at the same time, the only adventure that we could ever had is one that God had already done better. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We can only be thankful for that. That's what I was mentioning in the last reading, in the last energy, right? This is where humility really comes in. Even me as an empress, that's really how I get humbled. Lately, I'm not kidding. That's really how I get humbled. So falsifiers, alchemists. This is also, I went through all this, by the way. It sucked. I wouldn't recommend it. Please don't go to hell unless you are an earth angel on a mission to strengthen your own angelic source, okay? Which is perfection, which if you're not, then you would be stuck there for all eternity. So just focus on God, okay? Like, just focus on God, all right? If you really have to go through all these things, you know what I mean? Like I said, you don't have to. Well, how many times do I have to say you don't have to? Like, you don't have to. Don't fear not that in which you don't have to, I guess. Falsifiers, alchemists, counterfeiters, and liars, right? Plagued by disease, filth, and endless quarrels. So this is the energy that they're trying to force me to go through right now. They're trying to force it so hard because they don't want to believe that I already went through it. They don't want to. They don't want to. That the reason that I already went through it was so that I wouldn't have to go through it on earth. It almost became so that they can assume that my manifestation abilities was to ever make seem as if that something was banal or basically odious. They were trying to frame me for futility, quite literally, like as if that the empress doesn't need to exist, as if divine feminine doesn't need to exist, right? As if that I am not necessary, as if I'm not needed, as if that I'm not wanted, as if I'm not warranted, right? As if that I'm not here for a reason, as if that I didn't come in here, as if I'm not the word, you know. In the beginning was the word, and the word was God, as if I'm not the word, right? As if I'm not the promise, as if I'm not loyal, as if I'm not faithful, as if my name is not Amina Abdullahina, as if that's not who I am, as if that my father isn't Abdullahi, as if that my son isn't Muhammad, right? As if that's not what it is. Like, but the reality of the situation is that there's nothing you can do about the fact that Jesus Christ came onto the earth alone. You know what I mean? In the power invested in him as the Son of God himself, right? And to come here to, you know, walk the earth to be able to pronounce that which is just and true. Like, there's just nothing that they can do about it. Like, but they want to act like that they could, like, they're in denial. You see what I'm saying? You see what denial really does to a person? They're in such a denial. They're so in denial. They're in crazy denial. Yeah, they're in crazy denial that there is alignment and that it is available. You know what I mean? They want to make seem as if that there's no alignment available for anyone, talk less of you, me, or anyone else. Like, literally, because that they are disgraced, dishonored, in hell, suffering for all eternity. And it's like, yeah, it's called eternal damnation, Gehenna. That's for all eternity, you know. And they don't want to accept that, even that hell has a body. Hell has a legacy too. Why wouldn't Gehenna protect its legacy, right? Gehenna and hell's legacy is to torture all those who oppose God for all of eternity. That is its only reason and purpose, and by that reason and purpose it exists, which still bows down to the Most High God. You see what I'm talking about? So now it's finally being released. All that energy is finally being released. Like, the truth about it is that You know what I mean? Even that has purpose. That has legacy, that has purpose. God has legacy, has purpose. We got legacy, we got purpose. There's always a 10 of Pentacles in that energy, right? So here it is, Passion of Christ energy, right? Passion of Christ energy. And then there's the steadfastness through the Passion of Christ energy and the truth, the word. See? So yeah, there it is, forward movement and development. Now the journey is upright. The pathway is clear. There's the woman in the wilderness, and there's the protection of the angelic realm. Progress. There's progress. And then through progress is alignment. In alignment comes potential. See, comes potential. With potential is wisdom and discernment. And then there's rebirth and resurrection. See? There. And that's the cycle. It's always like that. That's it. So there's more than hell, obviously, right? There's also heaven, galaxies, right? There's the universe, right? And there's everything that comes with God, like literally. So they can't act like all that exists is the hell that they created for themselves when, let's be honest, God created that hell for them, right? Or God created the hell for us so that they would suffer instead of us in that way. So there's the restlessness. So restlessness was coming from the hell itself, right? So hell, let me explain to you guys Helheim. Hell is also a realm, right? It also exists. So like if you look up like the deity hell, right? If you look up the deity hell and you look up what do you call it? Helheim, right? You look up Gehenna. You also have to recognize that, like, you know what I mean? Gehenna has feelings too, right? Kind of energy. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the frequency. When you understand things from a higher perspective, you get it. Like Gehenna has feelings too. And it's not that Gehenna did anything wrong, right? So let's look up. It's not that Gehenna did anything wrong. It's not that, what'd you call it? Yeah, hell, quite literally. Valley of Hinnom. Exactly. What did the Valley of Hinnom do? See? Hinnom, a personal name. I'm not even kidding. See? A Valley of Hinnom was an infamous site where practiced child sacrifice to see, look at this bullshit right there. You see what I'm talking about? What did the Valley do? The Valley didn't do anything wrong, right? Gehenna isn't in the wrong for anything, right? Hell isn't anything wrong. God created it for a purpose. What it was used for and how it was. So that's where it is. It's like, it's being like, now the restlessness is being investigated. Why is hell so restless, right? Its whole purpose is being fulfilled. There's nurturing. That's probably why it was so hard for rich people to get into heaven. Like, you know what I mean? For those who are rich, because it's like they were trying to make it seem like riches could only exist through material wealth. But whenever we heard God say that the rich were the ones that were gonna, like, you know, it was hard for the rich to get to heaven. You know what I mean? It was like, but being rich also occurs in spirit, right? Like that's also something. So like it was like there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there, right? So yeah, there's fulfillment. So restless about fulfillment. It's like also being afraid of thieves. That's what it is, a fear of thieves. Even though, yeah, because thieves, what layer do thieves go in? Oh, you know, like it said, hold on. So yeah, so 7. Bro, you see what I'm saying? So they want to like join forces with like those in the 8th layer, right? But they want to also like, it's a lot, bro. It's too crazy. But um basically murderers, remember when I said murder, they want to kill murderers, war makers, tyrants, and bandits, right? Punishments submerged in a river of boiling blood. The deeper their violence is in life, the deeper they are sunk. Centaurs patrol the banks. There it is, shooting arrows at anyone who tries to rise higher than they serve. Centaurs, there they are. That's the Sagittarius energy. Finally. So, yeah, there they are. They're pissing me off. Like, no wonder. They probably remember me. That's probably what it is. It's a memory. I knew it. I literally knew it. So it's like they remember me and the like deep-seated hate that they sent towards me. So it's resentment. It's a lot of resentment against me. That's another enemy. But it's not my enemy, it's their enemy that they keep projecting towards me. They're gonna have to deal with it now. It's not my business. Annoying. They're so annoying. Yeah, basically. Yeah, shooting arrows at anyone who tries to rise higher than they deserve. Exactly. Trying to like literally. So suicides, there it is. Suicides turned into gnarled, thorny trees in the dark, haunted woods. Harpies tear at their branches, making them bleed out and cry. Yeah. So this is what I was also like really suffering with, because like I was wondering, like my cat kept on thinking I was a tree because I was trying to do something. So she was trying to teach me a lesson. It was a long story short, okay? But I was more so that I was being forced to learn that lesson when it wasn't mine to learn. It was like, it's murder. It's murder. It's like what is it called again when someone is trying to make you commit suicide? Like that's what I mean. It's like that's what I was being put through, but for some reason I was being punished as if that's really what I was trying to do to myself. Like that part really got me fucked up, because you know how many assisted suicides, right, were occurring in the world, but not because someone was really suffering the suicide, but because somebody was trying to force them to commit suicide, which is murder. You see what I mean? But then the people who were trying to force the murder were like getting away with it. Like that was what tripped me out. So I was like, what the fuck? And that's what really was. You see what I mean? You see the profanity now? That's what really got me. So I was like, what the hell? Right? That's why there's so much anxiety now around that unrest, restless, right? So squanderers, those who destroyed their own substance recklessly, hunted and torn apart by rabid dogs. Wow, I don't even know what that means, but squanderers. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, well, blasphemers against God lie on burning sand under the eternal rain of fire. Sodomites against nature wander endlessly beneath the rain of fire, unable to rest. Usurers, right, against art and industry, sit crouched on burning sand, staring at purses hung around their necks while fire rains down. That's sorry, it's just you know what I mean? So against others, boiling blood. Against self, trees thorn by harpies chased by dogs. Against God, nature, and art, fire rain on burning sand. See what I'm saying? So it's real bad. If you think that that's not happening, I promise it really is, okay? Like I said. So for some reason, there's supposed to be, so Gehenna is supposed to fear, like it's saying violence, like, but then I'm also looking at what Jesus said. He said, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that washeth and keepeth his garments. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Yeah, so he's coming, and we watching. He probably already is here, honestly. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched. But be ye therefore ready also. Remember I was telling you about readiness? There you go. Now you know what you're supposed to be ready for. For the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. It's 2:57, bruh. Why do I want fries all of a sudden? Anyways. So let's keep going. 4 of Swords energy. So there's like, okay, we know that. So hell is restless about, I feel, I'm not too sure. Yeah, there's steadfastness. See? Yeah. So wait. How is that possible? The bribe takers. What's going on? It's like they keep on trying to abuse the gate of the 7th hell. That's what it is. They keep on trying to abuse the gates of the 7th hell. That's what it is. Yep, there's the Lord. He came through. So that was you? Brother? Cloaked. All cloaked and stuff. That was you the whole time? Tell me that was you, not you the whole time. Come on. How am I supposed to look at this? How am I supposed to tell the difference then? I'm not supposed to tell the difference. Oh. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. I don't know where I was trying to tell the difference at. I'm just going to have to, ask for forgiveness for that. Because me, I'm supposed to tell God. I'm supposed to tell God. I don't know why I was trying to tell the difference. That was wild. That was crazy. Yeah. I don't know what was going on. Yes, someone was trying to play as if that they were the alpha. Remember I was telling you guys? They were trying to play as if that they were the alpha. They were trying to act like they were God. And that's why I was so lost trying to tell the difference, because I don't know what was going on, because they were trying to make it seem like, I don't know. All I know is that I gave it to God. Now I'm telling God. So why does it matter? Empress C, why would it matter? It wouldn't, would it now? Because I was ready. Hadn't I been? Hadn't I been, Lord? Exactly. I had been. Period. Readiness was here, and I also prepared the one who was watching. So now all of us can go. All of us can go. You were attending, so no false witness here. So this is the end of it, right? The 4 of Swords in reverse with the 5 of Wands. This is what I told you. They wanted to commit this all the time. They always wanted to cause this for me. I was so tired of it, bro. Like, I was so tired of it. So it's like what this energy is the punishment of where is it? The murderers, war makers, tyrants, and bandits. I was even singing the song, I started all of the wars. I've been getting messages from my deep waters. And that song is by who? By Banks. Does that tell you anything? You see what I'm saying? So murderers, war makers, tyrants, and bandits. So the tyranting energy, they wanted to punish me for something I didn't even understand was going on, right? Submerged in a river of boiling blood, the deeper the violence in life, the deeper they sunk. Centers patrol the banks, shooting arrows at anyone who tries to rise higher than they deserve. So it was like, imagine it's like they're only trying to picture me. Imagine putting me, like trying to draw me out as the enemy, and then like have centaurs like shoot at me all the time, and then like be like, so if she's here, shoot here, right? Bribe giving, trying to hire centaurs to be like, okay, if she's here, then shoot her here, because if she's here, then she shoot her here. But the reality, I look like I'm teleporting everywhere. Alchemy, I look like I'm teleporting everywhere because they're the ones they're blind. They're not realizing where I am, and that all of a sudden the image of me is appearing wherever because they're the ones taking the bribe to do whatever it is. I don't know. They're the ones that are going crazy, not me. Anyways, the disappointment is there, the rejection is there, and it's being seen. So it's like there are people, so there are individuals that are like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like they really think that they are the ones that are hired in hell for something. Like, they ain't doing their job, that's for sure. Like, that's what it is. So some people are losing their position. Maybe they're tired of it. I don't know. Maybe they're just tired of working in hell, which makes sense. No one really likes working in hell. I myself is the queen for so long, Persephone energy. That's why I was there, right? So it's like, it's not really great. Gehenna isn't like the nicest place to work in, but what'd you call it? That's probably why the restlessness in the seventh is because it's like, of course there wouldn't be any rest. I feel like it's some sort of joke. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's hell. Why would there be rest in hell, right? Like, what are you kidding me? Yeah, there he is, the Lord. And then me, like, why would there be rest in hell? Like, that doesn't make any sense. There shall be no rest for the wicked. Squanderers. That's what it is. Squanderers of substance. Hunted and torn apart by rabid dogs. That's what it is. They wanted to make it. They wanted to. There's a lot of that, bruh. I don't know. Gehenna rests at the bottom, where everything is frozen with Satan, where things become obliterated and things become dematerialized. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's definitely some sort of judgment coming through. Yeah, I'm taking another one. Ooh, this one is nice. The judgment is coming through because it's like, they wanted something unconditional. That's what it is. They wanted to make it seem as if because that they were in eternity, something was also unconditional for them. That's what it was. Yeah. But they themselves had rules and laws imposed upon them. Nothing had ever began with unconditionality for them. They chose what was uninherently exalted, so not exalted inherently. They chose something that they wanted power over to assume power of exaltation. You see what I'm saying? it's like they were worshiping the same thing that they were trying to force in their hand, which is how I was seen as innocent. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like it's like cult followers. You see what I'm saying? Cult followers. Because they themselves are cultic. They worship who they want as a leader. But at the same time, they're holding the what they're trying to call a leader hostage. You see what I'm saying? That's why Jesus could come across as a thief in the night. You see? Because at the same time, they were trying to, a lot of the worshipers of Christ, right, assuming themselves to be Christian, were indeed worshiping the Son of God and not God himself. You see what I'm saying? They were worshiping a prophet, Prophet Isa, and attempting to hold him hostage due to his steadfastness. That means that there is freedom to his steadfastness, and his steadfastness is finally being given to the Most High God. Oh my gosh, it's like he really left everything behind. Like, he really left everything behind. He really came in with everything and then left everything behind, and only him went back to God. Like, only he went. Like, wow. I'm so amused, honestly. Here we are, still picking up his stuff. Like, this, you might be the son, but we are his children too. Like, you can't just leave all this stuff here, brother. Genuinely, it feels like that. Have you ever picked up your brother's socks or your sister's clothes, or try to pick up after your husband or your wife, or you come back home, you're tired too, and now you got to pick up all of their stuff? Like, that's how it feels for me. Like, excuse me, here I am coming. See the illnesses and stuff they were trying to cause me. Let me tell you what, I'll tell you why I had it, but basically something else. But it's like, we're here, we come here, and we're just like, oh, this guy's we're prophets too. Like, what the heck? See what I'm saying? It's just different. It's just different. Like, we're not asking to be worshipped. Like, that whole situation was crazy, but they wanted to do the same thing to me. I've had people come up and say, like, they can't help but worship me. I was like, excuse me, let me block this. Let me just delete the whole thing. Like, I was like, what the heck? No, I'm not doing that today. Because me, I didn't join a cult. You want me to be the cult leader? That's crazy. And that's some craziness. Yeah, that's why I don't really have that many followers. That's why I don't have all that. I'm not doing all that today. I'm not doing all that. Princess of Swords in reverse. Yeah. So they're all being reversed now. They're like, can't come across any other way than they really are, as usurers, sodomites, blasphemers, squanderers, causers of suicides, punishers, murderers, war makers, tyrants, and bandits. They can only be seen as that now. Usurers, I'm going to look up usurers, because that's what it was. That was one of my main enemies right there. Usurers. One who lends money at an unreasonably high interest. Yep, that was my main enemy right there. One of my main enemies. Y'all don't understand. I'm an artist. In this lifetime especially, I'm an artist. So, one who profits from usurer of another's money, evolving from neutral interest taker. Yeah, greedy money lender. So, interest taker, you mean, yeah, bribe taker. That's what it is. They were the bribe, maker. They were the bribe maker and bribe taker. It's really complicated, because it's like they were the ones trying to switch up. Remember when I said disillusion of interest, trying to act like they were disillusioning interest for others, right? That was how they were trying to make seem as if. So they would come around and act like that they were going to release you from your binds and bonds and whatever. But in reality, it was actually in somebody else's interest to trap you, collective. And so they were trying to make it seem as if that they were a centaur in a situation, it's really desperate. It's really desperate. Not only are they suffering in the hands of those centaurs, they're also trying to pretend to be the centaurs so that they can then like make it seem as if that they have authority, rights, and rank to now try and shoot you down, right? It's crazy. It's some craziness, but the angels are now peeping game on this. Yeah, the angels are not peeping game on all of this. Like, yeah, that's the truth right here, especially on earth. Like, they're seeing it now. I don't know how it could have been possibly blocked, but it must have been a playground that God was probably making or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was something that God was doing. Yeah. But yeah, literally, it was something that God was doing. It was all to, yeah, oh, right. Right. It's oh, I know the protocol about this. Okay, so data and intel. There is one guy that is the main enemy right now. Okay, he's like the main enemy. Like, screw Satan, like all that stuff is over, all them demons, all that stuff is over. There's one guy we really don't like. That guy, he's like, I don't know what is up with him, but he's like a big enemy. He's chained up and stuff, and he's real fucked up. He's the guy who really he's the guy who really like invented the astral energy. Like, I think he like falsified the inventorship in order to now accommodate for the astral to exist or something like that. Like, that's like a big thing I like that I figured that he did or something. But it's like, it's even worse than that. He's like almost like as bad, if not worse, than Judas energy. Like, it's really bad. Like, he's chained up and stuff. Like, whoo, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh God, forgive me. But basically, let me see. I rebuke Iblis. But it was all to prepare us for the main battle. You know how there's like Ragnarok and all that stuff. Yeah, so there's Iblis. Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah, it's Dajjal. Yeah, Dajjal. There he is. Antichrist, the false Messiah. Yeah, they're the Antichrist. That's him. That's who we don't know. Oh, that guy. So the false Messiah, the deceiver, right? A great deceiver who will appear before the end of time. There he is. Basically, to lie, cover, deceive, the deceiver, the one who covers truth with falsehood. You see what I'm saying? And that's why it was causing me so much issues, because that's the main enemy right there. Remember, he's the one who now tries to create interest rates so that I wouldn't, you know what I mean, be able to take loans, or I wouldn't be able to even get anything, or you know what I mean. Like, it's really irritating. I don't know how to explain it, but like I said, if you find the money, let me know, because I don't really even know. I don't even really know how to get out of here right now. This is not a great environment. You hear all that? So basically, he will claim to be a prophet, then to be divine. One of his eyes is deformed, blind, often like a floating grape. The word kafir, unbeliever, will be written on his forehead, legible to believers. See why it's important? He will travel rapidly across the earth, spreading deception. He will perform signs and wonders, miracles, to mislead people. He will gather many followers, especially among the weak in faith. According to Hadith, Dajjal is currently alive but restrained. One famous narration, Tamim al-Daril Hadith in Sahih Muslim, describes sailors meeting a strange man chained on an island identified as Dajjal. Right? He will emerge during a time of great hardship and confusion. He will spread falsehood, offering material wealth and food in exchange for worship. Many will follow him, thinking he is divine. Dajjal will be opposed by true believers. Isa, thank Jesus, is, peace be upon him, Bismillah, Prophet Isa, peace be upon him, will return, descend near Damascus, and kill Dajjal at Lud. at Lod, in modern day Israel, Palestine. See? Yeah, there you go. He's here. He's here. Yeah, 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 yay. Yes, I go, come on. Ah, yes, I knew it. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Y'all, this has been such a journey, okay? Oh my gosh, my brother dropped everything to come here. I was like, what are you doing, bro? He said, it's time. I said, what do you mean, bro? And he left. I was like, bro, you can't just leave like that. And then I came, and then it was just a shit show. And then I was like, is this why you came? No, it was for that. And now we can go. Yay! I'm just picking up his socks and stuff, though. Anyway, I'm out. Thank you guys so much for watching the reading. I hope you guys